My fiance's ex is now my sister-in-law, but she's still trying to sabotage my relationship.
You already got a brother.
Why do you need another one?
You don't need a...
But why not? We've collected 3 hours of horrible sister-in-laws that'll make you not want to watch anymore. But please don't do that. Keep watching. My 27 female fiance's ex is now my older brother's wife. So, my sister-in-law. To make it less confusing, my fiance is George, my brother is David, and my sister-in-law is Ella. George, 38 male, briefly dated Ella, 34 female, 4 years ago. Ella wanted to get married and have kids, but George did not want this with her. He was also having a lot of issues back then, partying, doing drugs, and not being the most reliable person. They dated for 6 months and everything ended in drama because Ella was not able to make George want to settle with her. Soon?
Oh, I was just gonna say that I don't like her, but that is hard when you are in a relationship with someone and they refuse to, they're like, oh, I don't want to do that with you. And then they do it with someone else,
Yeah, true.
That's tough.
True. That is really tough. Soon after the breakup, she met my brother and they got married 6 to 7 months after.
Damn. She was like, I really wanted it.
I really wanted it. I really want someone that looks like you, and I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
Holy cow. So yeah, they moved really fast, and basically Ella dated her ex, broke up with him, met my brother, and got married to him. Everything in only 1 year and a couple months. Oh, OP's brother.
Healthy. Yeah.
I got
I was
that
confused.
mixed up.
I was like OP. Doesn't feel super healthy.
Yeah, I don't like this timeline here. By the way, this comes from Top Sound 3762 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, I met George 2 years ago, and at that time, Ella was already married to my bro. Back then, I had no idea that George was Ella's ex. When George started to feel attracted to me, he changed completely. He quit drinking and doing drugs. He has been sober ever since.
Okay.
He started going to therapy and overall became a new person.
Love this.
Wow.
Turn around.
I've seen a quote that a woman, I don't know what the quote was.
A man, a woman.
Yeah. I stopped because I don't think you'd like it, so I stopped saying it. He did this because he wanted to change, and I have been with him during this entire healing journey. I'm very proud of him, and we have been healthy and in an amazing relationship.
Do they just live in like a small town, or are they in the same circle? How did that happen?
Gotta be small town. Has to be.
It's crazy.
Has to be. Even if Ella was already married to my brother, she was furious when she found out I was dating George, and that I was dating George, and that he was serious with me. She was so cruel and said a lot of nasty lies. She used to tell everyone that George was grooming me. I was 25 when we became a thing, and he was 36.
Yeah, that's not really how
This
that
is not
works.
grooming, FFS. She lied that George was being mean to me, trying to become what do we say for that? Trying to become a Coca-Cola head like him, and many other things. This ruined my relationship with my brother because he never did anything to make her stop.
Yeah, what the heck? Like, why isn't he stepping in?
And I don't like this, like what Ella's doing, because she still seems like she has feelings for George.
Well, she clearly was never over with like George. She just moved on because she wanted to have a marriage.
Oh, that's so tough. George and I announced our engagement to my family last week during my dad's birthday. My parents were happy for us, but Ella said it must be nice to be the one to get the ring after someone else struggled to fix him. Again, no reaction from my brother as usual. My parents told her to stop, but I just snapped and told her something along the lines, "He fixed himself, you POS. And yes, it is nice. I will be married to the man I love more than anything and who loves me the same.
Put your foot down. Good.
But how is it for you knowing that no one else except my idiot brother ever wanted to marry you? Does it feel nice?"
Damn. Opie said, "Shut your mouth.
Golly.
Just stop talking."
And it's weird the brother's just like...
He's like, "Yep, that's true." No one will love you like.
Yep, I agree with
right.
that. He's just a yes man.
Yeah.
That's really what this guy is.
The sister-in-law is like, he only fixed himself because he want like whatever, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yep, that's true.
Yep.
And OP's like, no one's going to love you. And he's like, yep, that's true.
He just agreed with whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, my parents kicked them out after this. They told her that everybody had enough of her BS.
Mm-hmm.
She is insane because all along being married, she still felt bitter over the fact that her ex did not want her. She is officially banned from every family event, and my brother is now blaming me because he's definitely getting an earful from the girl.
Oh, she keeps yelling at me,
She
man.
keeps yapping, and this is all your fault. If you just would agree like me, none of this would have happened.
Yeah, that's why I just say yes to everything that she says.
So am I the a-hole in this situation? I don't think I am, honestly, but I want also to hear some unbiased perspective. Update. Do you think she went too far calling the brother an idiot?
I don't know. The brother seems like he's on her nerves as well. He's like, I can't handle either of you. Shut up. And the fact that the parents were on her side too. I feel like everyone's just sick of this girl.
Yeah. I think the only thing you could have slightly be a-hole with is calling the brother idiot.
Yeah.
Because he has to live with this.
Yeah. That's his own punishment. Yeah.
He didn't deserve you being mean to him too.
He's like, I'm just catching strays on all sides here.
Oh man. Oh, Angie's back. Say hello, Angie,
Hello.
if you're here. For sure feel better.
Oh yeah, are you feeling better after? Because you were sick, right?
Yeah, she was
Actively
kind of ish.
Dang.
Fortunately, I'm just seeing who's at the game. Someone's sick on my team.
Got you.
Every time someone says they're sick, I do a flu game. The Michael Jordan flu game thing.
Yeah.
Do you know about that?
Nope. No idea what
So
you're
Michael
talking
Jordan, he got sick during the game, but he still played, and he scored like 18 points.
about. Oh damn.
And it was a flu game. But in the documentary that they released on Netflix, it turns out he just ate a lot of pizza the night before, and it may have been compromised because they were in Detroit, and Detroit, the Pistons and the Bulls are like rivals.
Ooh, so
and
someone sabotaged.
Yeah, so they're
Damn.
probably that. But it was basically he got sick off of pizza
Dang.
the night before. Yay, hello.
Dying.
She's here. All right, we're reading. TLDR, babe, real quick. So, fiance, OP is dating George, and George, she says she's feeling a little bit better.
Yay, I'm glad.
Yeah, she's still got a little bit of a cough. But OP
Lemon honey
dates
ginger.
George, and George used to date Ella, which is OP's sister-in-law, and sister-in-law is jealous that OP is dating George and is talking a lot of crap, and OP finally said, shut up, you're an idiot, and he loves me, not you.
Yeah.
And
See,
the
now you
family
got
kicked her out.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have an update. Update. Yesterday, I contacted my brother and asked him to meet me for coffee. It was only the two of us, and I think it was the first time I've opened my heart like this in front of him. I started off by apologizing for him being caught in the middle, and I told him I will never apologize or be sorry for loving George. I'm down. OP, you are no longer slightly the a-hole, in my opinion.
No, OP's like, you know what? I'm standing by my man.
Yeah. And he apologized to George.
George is the brother? I thought George was the...
No, sorry, to the brother. She apologized to the brother.
She's like, sorry.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. You're welcome. I was honest, and I told him how much this situation has been affecting me. My brother is the same age as my fiance, so he is 11 years older than me. During our childhood, he was my protector, the person I looked up to.
Aww, and she's like, now you're not doing that. I'm not having that. You're letting your wife walk all over me.
Yeah, now I'm having to protect myself.
Aww, I'm glad that it seems like there was a lot of resentment and not a lot of conversation. So I'm glad we're having that conversation.
Yeah, facts. Due to our age difference, we never really had many activities in common, and I could not wait for the moment I grew up so I get to share more with my brother as adults.
Aww.
That's sweet. I can't wait for my kid brothers. My kid brothers are getting there. They're playing basketball now.
Yeah. I feel like Sam said that I developed a personality around like 16.
Was he starting to drive you around everywhere?
No, he was. No, you know what? Maybe he was 12. No, it's probably 16.
Me and my brother started having a relationship once I started driving.
I think when I was like maybe 14 to 16, he had just gone to college, or he was about to go to college.
Okay.
And he was like, that's when I had developed a personality, and I was fun to hang out with.
Probably both took each other for granted.
Yeah.
And that's why.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But I did not get the chance to do this because of Ella. David would always teach me to value myself, to choose people who treat me right and to make me happy. However, I am not able to share my happiness with him anymore.
Aw.
I understand why he would wish I never met George, but it still hurts knowing that your brother somehow resents the source of your happiness. David would always defend me when I was younger, even in front of her parents. When I was 15, I was experimenting with makeup and looked bad, really bad. During a family function, one of our uncles got wasted and told me to stop using makeup because I was too young and I looked like a hooker.
What the frick? I hate that. I hate that.
Oh, David got mad and kicked him out for offending his sister.
Hell yeah.
This was the kind of brother he used to be, and now see how he stays aside and allows his wife to be offensive and cruel. It's really hurtful. Yeah, going from one thing to another.
Mm-hmm. It's really sad because you know what it was like.
Yeah.
And you're like, I want that back again.
And just like, for example, Steve
Mhm.
Martin in Only Murders in the Building.
Yeah.
Every other movie he's very confident in, and it feels so wrong to see him as not a confident person.
Yes. Yes. I agree. No, because I think that watching that show, like, I love Steve Martin and I love what's his face, but it just like it feels
so off
feels
seeing
off.
Steve Martin like that.
And I think it also feels a little bit off with Selena Gomez because she's always been also very like confident, boisterous, and she's a little bit like softer
Diddy.
spoken and like, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, no. The Steve Martin one really bothers me. I do not care that she is like that towards me. I don't like Ella at all, and I could easily ignore her. But what gets to me the most is that she's constantly trying to belittle and humiliate my future husband. I have lived with this man for 2 years. I have also shared so many things with him during this time, and I am certain I know better what kind of man he is. I know how hard it was for him to heal all this trauma. I know how hard he has worked day by day to become the best version of himself. I know how much he loves me, protects me, supports me, and I simply lose it when I hear her crap, and I know she is constantly trying to bring him down. Yes, I go bear mode when he is involved, as someone told me in the comments, but I don't care. I will not allow any of my family members to abuse the person I love. I have tolerated things for my brother's sake, but I will never be quiet in front of this bee of a wife.
Put your foot down.
I love this. I absolutely love this.
Yeah. I want you to have a good relationship with your brother, and I want him to divorce this lady.
Oh, yeah. I told my brother I love him and I will always cherish the moments I have with him, but we can no longer go on like this. I understand he is a victim and I'm ready to do anything for him if he's willing to accept that his marriage is not good and that Ella is not a good woman and is abusing him. I cannot force him to divorce her because this has to be a choice, but I told him I will accept his decision no matter what it is. So it looks like she's going no contact with him.
Yeah. If he stays with her. Yeah.
Yep. He will always be my brother, but George is my family now. We plan on having kids in the near future, and there is no way in heck I will ever allow this lunatic of a wife to be near my kids. I also refuse to subject George to the abuse. We tried. We thought that was this rough period will eventually pass, but that's everything, and that everything will be okay. But unfortunately, Ella became more and more bitter and disgusting.
Aww.
We will still see my parents, but I'm standing my ground and will not go to their house if she is present. David and I cried a lot for the first time in many years, and I felt like I had my brother back. He apologized over and over again and explained a lot of things to me, which gave me the chance to understand him better. But at the same time, I'm so angry that I had no idea what was happening to my brother. Some of the people said I was a rebound for Ella. Oh, some people said David was a rebound for Ella, but it seemed they were both a rebound for each other. What made them marry so...
That cancels out. Double rebound. It cancels out.
You want to explain a little bit more about that?
So if you're rebounding and then with another person who's rebounding, cancels out.
Cancels out.
Yeah. So it's not a rebound.
So it's not a rebound at all.
Yeah. So actually, they're in a super healthy relationship.
Okay. Noted. This is Sophia's golden advice right here.
It's my golden rule.
Oh my gosh. What made them marry so fast was the age pressure. My brother was feeling like it was very hard to connect with someone, and the prospect of being able to have a family of his own seemed very far away until Ella came along and offered him the possibility to have exactly what he wanted without too much struggle. So yeah, in the end, I guess we're all some sort of messed up people in a way or another.
That's the moral of the story.
And if you're a messed up person, you can join us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile.
Just tap it.
I don't know what's going to happen. David said he plans to take some time to go away alone for a couple of days and to think about what he wants to do. But he said that when he'll be back, he wants to have a chat with George to apologize to him as well for everything that has happened. That's awesome.
Okay.
My brother knows that everything Ella says is false. He said everyone is able to see how much George loves me and that we make a great couple, and there are times when he wished to also have something like this in his life.
Aww.
He told me he's proud of the woman I have become and that no matter what happens, I will always be his little sister. David said that.
This is so sad.
After this, I went home and cried some more with George beside me. I've never tried to play strong and deny myself to feel hurt for so long that day. I have tried to play strong and denied to feel hurt for so long that day yesterday that I finally exploded.
I think it was tried so long to deny feeling hurt that yesterday I felt like I exploded.
I've tried to play strong and deny myself to feel hurt for so long that yesterday I have finally exploded. Yeah. But it was good because I now feel better. Oh. Wow. Yeah, I would like to see an update after David comes to his freaking senses.
And gets rid of Ella.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
This is so sad because it seems like he actually really does love his sister.
Yeah.
And he just can't.
He can't shake Ella.
Can't shake Ella.
That's tough.
Bummer.
Good luck. Good luck, David.
But that's the end of this story. So we'll see you next time.
My sister-in-law excluded me from her bridal party, so I'm going to outshine her at her wedding.
Oh.
That's the best way to get back at her. Made this account for burner purposes. No real names are used. This story really has many elements. It was hard to choose just one. Hashtag petty revenge. Am I the a-hole? Wedding drama llama. I, 36 female, met my husband in 2009 and we married in 2013. I was overjoyed and looking forward to having somewhat of a normal family dynamic with his side of the family. I have very little communication with my own immediate family due to extreme dysfunction. By the way, this comes from Here for the Party on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. My husband, King, 38 male, adopted all 3 of my daughters from my previous marriage. My husband's immediate family consists of 3 younger sisters, Tina, Kelly, and Layla, and his mom, Jean. Since our kids were the only grandchildren, they treated our children good. Christmas parties, birthdays, graduations, etc. I always felt welcome, always got along with everyone. Everything was great. That is.
Yep.
Until I lost a significant amount of weight. 149 pounds. For everyone that's kilos, that's around 75 kilos. For reference, I am now 5 foot, 128 pounds. My sister-in-law gained weight after I lost weight.
Tough.
With the youngest sister gaining the most. Remember that later. I began to feel somewhat excluded in family activities. They would do things together, go on cruises, trips, girls shopping days, but I wouldn't know about these trips until after they occurred. To this day, I still have yet to be invited to any of these types of trips/outings after my weight loss. So basically the past 8 years. Skipping forward, the youngest sister, Layla, is getting married early winter 2025 to Felix. She has about 150 on the guest list, 7 bridesmaids, both sisters, my 3 teenage daughters who will be DOW 19, 17, and 16, and 2 friends of the bride. The groomsmen, 2 brother-in-laws, Tim and Sam, Felix's 3 friends. The other 2 sisters are married to Tim and Sam for reference. My husband, King, is walking her down the aisle since she has literally been the only consistent male figure in her life. Then, obviously, my mother-in-law, Jen, is mother of the bride. This means I am literally the only one in our immediate extended family that is not in/a part of the wedding. Honestly, I'm not sure if I should count this as a blessing. I'll be the only one to enjoy the wedding for what it is. But that also means that the wedding photos will show everyone who I count as my real family, even my own children, except me, with the exception of entire family photos. Who knows? She might kick me out of that too. I couldn't help but feel like this was done on purpose, but I said nothing. I've never been nothing but nice to all of them. We've never had any falling out, so what gives? Backtracking, when the bride and groom asked everyone, they made an event out of it, like a family gathering at my mother-in-law's house. Weeks leading up to it, Layla kept telling me she had a surprise for the girls and wanted to make sure they were there. It wasn't until my mother-in-law called me and said, "Don't tell Layla I told you, but she is going to ask the girls to be her bridesmaids. That's why she wants them there. I told her to tell you, but she wouldn't listen." Later in the evening of the "Will you be my bridesmaid/groomsman" party, Layla mentioned, "Sorry for not including you. Already have 7 bridesmaids." Like, that isn't enough. Like, that isn't a lot already.
To me, I'm like, dude, having a giant like bridal party or groom's party, fire.
Oh, yeah.
You're all just, there's too many friends and people who love me.
Oh, wow. That's sorry.
I'm so sorry.
Only have 7 I can
my
give that
bad.
to. I told her it was fine, and I understood. About 1 to 2 months later, my 3 daughters brought it up. They asked if I was sad that Aunt Layla didn't ask me to be a bridesmaid. I said, I'm not sure how to feel about it, but it's her wedding, so how I feel doesn't matter. They all informed me that they wish they hadn't been asked since I was so blatantly excluded, and they feel she did it on purpose. My oldest daughter, who was quite brutal in her explanation of the theory, said, "Mama, I honestly think Aunt Layla is jealous of you and fears that you will be upstaging her. Think about it. Even before you lost all that weight, you have legit always been the gorgeous one in the family."
Oh! Yeah, you ugly auntie. Yeah, you ugly.
And the girls know it.
And everyone knows it.
But my girls are more gorgeous, in my opinion. Let's be real. Of grandma's children, daddy got the better end of the deal for jeans. Of course, she doesn't want you up standing next to her, being 12 years older than her, but still stealing the spotlight. My girls are truly my biggest fans. They always make me feel good about myself. I am certainly not a 10, but looks-wise, I have to agree that perhaps I was dealt the better hand.
That is OP trying to be polite, but you know.
Like,
Hey,
put me side by side. I'll let you decide.
I'll let you decide.
My husband heard this conversation and chimes in. He agrees with the girls, saying that there's no doubt she's jealous and that I'll have no responsibility for the wedding. I can simply enjoy the reception. Fast forward to the day of the bridesmaid's dress fitting day. The girls come home. My youngest daughter, who is now 15, but super witty, walks in the door and she has a look of deer in headlights. She says, "OMG, the dresses are hideous, and now we definitely think you were excluded because she doesn't want anyone looking better than her. Trust me, you aren't missing out on anything."
Intentionally getting super ugly dresses.
Called it.
That's crazy.
You called it?
I called it. Just jealous. But they suck.
Just jelly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My other 2 daughters agree. My oldest goes on to say she basically admitted it. My oldest expressed she wasn't super into the dresses that were picked, and Layla straight up said, "Well, the bridesmaids aren't supposed to look better than the bride." My youngest starts laughing and says, "Mama, I think Layla, actually messed up by not making you a bridesmaid because then at least she could control what you wear." My daughter moves into the shadows. Okay, she's my mini-me. She suggests I find the wedding guest outfits of the century just to make a point and to get somewhat of a revenge of always leaving me out. But we will never leave you out every weekday at 3 p.m. PST because we go live. Just tap our profile.
Should I pull a white dress or not?
Dude.
OP has been taking the high road for 8 years.
I'm listening.
When is OP gonna put her foot down with her heels and show up? When's she gonna do that?
If you drive on the same road and never get to your destination, you got to take a different turn.
I say is wear something spectacular, no white, but show her up. 100%.
Ooh.
Show up and show out.
Show up and show out.
After 4 months of searching, I have found a stunning blue jumpsuit with deep but tasteful front and back plunge. Beautifully extra with air quotes. If you know what I mean, and my husband loves it too. The only thing is I don't want to be a deliberate butt. Tell me, am I in the wrong? Should I not worry about putting so much focus into myself and just let her have the day despite the seemingly obvious slight against me? Tell me, am I the a-hole for planning a revenge outfit for my sister-in-law's wedding? That's the end of the story, dude.
So OP didn't wear the white dress. Like, I think maybe if she was like, oh, and then I went to I dropped like $1,000 on hair and makeup and the nails and like, okay, maybe if OP was like trying to go like 11 out of 10,
super extra,
even without the white dress, is like, okay, that's too much. She's just like, I just got a really, really nice, hot looking jumpsuit.
and that's all she had to do.
She's just showing up as her basically, and she looks great, allegedly. So there it is.
Wait, not John saying allegedly.
Allegedly. We don't know. We have no proof.
Well, I thought you meant to say that because you're John. I have a girlfriend for Ryan. That's
Well,
why you said
it also
allegedly.
fits. It's a double entendre.
Okay,
of sorts.
that's
it
what I meant
works.
to
It
say.
works.
Oh,
It works.
My sister-in-law blacklisted my wedding dates. Now she's lying to get her way.
by any means possible.
Context to start, I, 27 female, met my now fiance, 26 male, when we were 19. We started dating and I ended up becoming really close with his family. My family is/was abusive, so I spent a lot of time at my then boyfriend's house. His parents more or less adopted me. His dad taught me how to do a lot of house maintenance stuff like fixing the washer, and his mom would come with me to doctor's appointments and stuff.
Lovely.
We love a doctor mom. By the way, this comes from user Repulsive Pepper 957 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm chronically ill with a rare disorder, amongst other things, and his mom would come to my appointments for support, come with me to any tests I needed done, the whole 9 yards. Truly wonderful people. Anyway, fiance has a sister, Anne, 28 female, who was 20 at this point in the story. She was away at college when we started dating, so I really didn't get to know her for about a year into our relationship. She ended up doing her last few semesters from home, so we did end up bonding. We had similar interests and were close in age, and since we were both home often, we ended up doing sisterly things like getting our nails done, going shopping, getting ice cream, etc. We actually had each other saved as sister, last name, in our phones.
Aw.
Just to paint the picture of how far off the rails we've gotten. After Anne moved home, she started showing signs of jealousy towards me.
Interesting.
Uh-oh. I tried to brush it off, and while my fiance wasn't happy about it, he didn't say anything to her because he knew it was more drama than it was worth. She started signing any cards we got their parents as, quote, from your real daughter. I just signed my name. I wasn't claiming to be their daughter. And she would get nasty when her kitten, who she got despite working 80 hours a week, liked me, who was always home with her. I mean, that's just a given.
Yeah.
The cat's gonna like you if you're at home with the cat all the time.
Whoever's giving the cat more treats is gonna like it more.
Exactly. Fast forward a couple years, Anne moves out, buys a house, and I move in with my fiance and his parents, which wasn't planned, but it was no longer safe in my current living situation. I appreciate them greatly allowing me to live with them even now. Anyways, my fiance and I used this time to look for/save money for a house. He proposed after 5-ish years together, but says he doesn't want to get married until we have our own house, which is fair. He doesn't want to be married and still living with his parents.
Gotcha.
Does
Fair.
make a little bit of sense. We've been looking for a house for almost 2 years. Wow, that's a long time. And at this point, we're tired of waiting to get married. After we got engaged, we had the whole wedding planned out, the venue, caterer, dress, colors, all of it. We just never booked because we weren't sure when we'd be in a position to get married. That being said, it's now been 2 years, and we decided a few months ago to stop putting our life on hold while waiting for a house. We got back into wedding planning, and in that time, Anne got engaged.
Oh, wow.
Congratulations, Anne!
Congratulations, yeah.
I'm sure nothing bad will come of this.
No one's gonna like make this a competition.
Yeah, I'm sure everything's going to be very just copacetic
Mellow.
among all parties in this conversation, in this story. For reference, Anne is very social, bubbly, life of the party, where my fiance and I are not. Her proposal required everyone to drive over an hour away to the middle of the forest, including her fiance's elderly grandparents and family, who had to drive 3+ hours, as well as friends who have 2 kids under the age of 2. Overall, her proposal was a 30+ person event. This was already an indicator to my fiance and I that things were going to get bad. Anne and her fiance decide on a destination wedding that will be in the beginning of August 2025, as well as a second local wedding in the beginning of October 25.
Lit.
How are you going to give yourself 2 weddings?
I'm for that.
Just do one. My fiance and I started dating and got engaged on a 20th. So we wanted to get married on a 20 as well. That being said, that only leaves like 5 dates in the year that are both a 20 and fall on a weekend. I know this problem would be resolved if we didn't do a 20, but just humor me for the time being. One of these dates happens to be July 20th, which is also our 8th year anniversary. What? We reach out to Anne and say, hey, we'd like to do this date because it's significant to us, but we understand if it's too close. We do have other options, but we wanted to ask if it was okay. We were fully expecting her to say no, which was fair as our weddings would be like 3 weeks apart. To our surprise, she says, yes, it's fine. Yay.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Sure, nothing bad can happen from here.
Nope. Everything's good now.
Everything's great. And that's the end of the story. And they had 3 weddings and it was all perfect.
Whoa.
Wow. Oh, wait. There seems to be more. Then Anne calls her mom crying about how could we do this to her, that we were selfish, etc., which is absurd because we also offered other dates.
Oh my
She
gosh.
didn't have to say yes. My future mother-in-law basically calls my fiance and I out for being a-holes for planning so close to her. For the record, Anne was going to let us think that the date was fine and be mad about it forever. But her mom said something, so we caught wind of it. That's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
This is insane.
That's fully unhinged behavior. To be like, hey, is this date okay with you? We'll literally change it for you if it's not. Even though it's super important to us, we will put that aside because you've already planned your wedding.
Yeah.
She's like, no, it's fine. And then she was secretly going to be like, these monsters, they stole my wedding from me and I'll never recover. Come on. We texted Anne and apologized, basically explaining, hey, we also have these other dates. Like we told you, we don't mind doing a different date, but in the future, please tell us if there's a problem instead of just holding it in. She apologizes for being kind of mean, but then says we can't get married 1 month before or after either of her weddings.
Right.
There are only 4 dates that we could choose from, and she has essentially blacklisted 3 of them.
Oh, well then just choose the 4th.
We understand not getting married before her, but after? Anyway, we go to mother-in-law like she gets to control an entire half of the year. Hello. And mother-in-law backs her up. And again says, regardless of when we get married, that we're too close to Anne's wedding and in the wrong. Dude, what?
Man.
Before or after is crazy. The internet is divided because not only is Anne having 2 weddings, with one being a destination wedding, we don't need to get married 3 weeks before her. Again, we know that, which is why we offered other dates as well. We didn't go to Anne like, we booked this date, get effed. We consulted her for the sole purpose of keeping this from happening. We reach out to Anne again just to touch base on we can't even get married a month after? And Anne apologizes, saying that she was just being jealous and reacted instead of thinking. She then tells us the date in July, 3 weeks before her first wedding, is fine, so long as it's fine with their parents. Okay, we figured Anne was using this just as a way to have her parents say no for her, but boy, were we wrong. Instead, Anne told her parents that she stood her ground and told us absolutely no getting married a month before or after her weddings. What a psycho.
I don't know. I kind of see it in a way.
What do you mean you see it?
I understand.
That she's lying to them?
Oh, that she's lying? Oh, no.
Yeah,
I don't see
no.
that part. No. I see getting
if
married.
If she was upfront about it, yeah, sure, whatever.
Oh, I see.
But she literally told them, "Oh, it's fine. You can do the first date." And then she went and told her parents. She's like, "You can do the first date as long as our parents are okay with it."
Got it.
And then she went to her parents and went, "I stood my ground and I told them, no way are they going to have a wedding in July." So she's like purposefully trying to like just make their lives miserable now.
She's trying to make OP look bad because she's been jealous of her all these years. This is her way. This is her way to make her look bad. This is crazy.
Which she didn't. We have text proof of that. Anyhow, we go to mother-in-law like, we're going with the date we originally picked. We talked to Anne and she said it was fine. And mother-in-law went off again about us being rude, selfish, and purposely ignoring Anne's wishes for upstaging Anne. We showed her the text. That is very clearly Anne saying that date is fine. And mother-in-law said, we must have misunderstood. Wow. A classic. Don't believe your lying eyes. As far as we can figure, Anne lied to her mom to trick us into picking a date that would get us yelled at Again, this all could have been solved if she just said no to our original date instead of pinning us in a position where no matter what we do, we're wrong. But you know what? You'll never be wrong for joining us live on YouTube every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile. Bonus, Anne threw a temper tantrum the other day because I asked her dad to walk me down the aisle since I'm essentially an orphan and he's been more of a dad to me than my actual dad. Anne lost her crap about how she should get to experience that first and how it's not fair that he's going to walk me down when I'm not his real daughter. And that's a sacred thing that he should get to share with her and only her as he's their only daughter. It was one thing when it was just a conflict about the date, but since then, Anne has become so much more combative and dramatic. All of our friends support us, but his family, especially his parents, seem to side with his sister more. If she asked us to do a different date, that would have been one thing. But to then tell lies and make drama out of every decision we make? Like, seriously? Yeah, that's a pretty
That's pretty wild.
That's a pretty gross, lame, stinky little move of you. I feel like we're both in the wrong here, but I don't know how to even move forward at this point. Hey, well, good news is I don't think you're both in the wrong.
No,
I think there's clearly one side that is much more wronger than the other.
that's right.
And it would be your sister-in-law. Maybe just do the coolest thing, though, which is elope. Just you and your husband get married.
I don't think that's fair to them. I understand they want to get married, but I don't think it's fair to them. They're probably already living together, so it doesn't really matter if they get eloped.
But on a real level, just don't, if your family's being super problematic and like making your life miserable, trying to get them involved in this, just exclude them.
Yeah. But that is the end of that story.
My brother is asking us to buy all of their kids' toys because we're childless. Now the police are here.
Breaker 19. We got a call of children's toys not being properly accounted for. I don't know where I was going with that.
This is a call against Santa. My husband has a very large family. In total, I think his father has 8 brothers and sisters. They all got married and had 2 to 6 children each. Now, all their children are grown up and starting families as well. We're looking at easily, I believe, 15 children in the family as of right now.
Wow, that's a lot.
That's a fair amount, I guess.
That's a fair amount of children.
We all get together for Christmas every year at his grandparents' house. Sounds great, right? Right. I don't know what that right was threatening.
It was supposed to be like, right? Right.
Yeah. I'm threatened. By the way, this comes from Suplex Masorgtofu. Oh wait. Suplex Mass or get the F out?
Suplex mass or
Get the F out. On the OK Storytime subreddit. Normally after Thanksgiving or on Thanksgiving, which they also get together for, we pick names for the children's gift swap. There's also a men and women's gift swap, which my husband and I, who do not have children, join in on. Like there's like segregated men and women, or you have a child and men and women, you know, like adult and child.
I think it's just like, I don't think it's like children and then men and then women.
That's
I
what I'm
think
saying.
it's
Is it
children and then
adult?
men and women. Like
Okay,
children
okay.
and then just like adults with no children. That'd be so weird if they
That's
split
what
it
I'm
like
saying. Husband and I would buy gifts for his parents, his brother and wife, and their 4 kids. Great. Awesome. Works fine. Getting a lot of different answers. Last year, they said they would rather we just bought gifts for the kids, so we did. Same thing we've always gotten them, books at the reading level, PJs, and puzzles of some kind. They were upset, but we couldn't place why. We also didn't get any gifts at all, which we didn't comment on, but my husband admitted he was a bit hurt to get nothing from his parents versus his brothers and his brother and sister-in-law getting gifts.
Well, hold on. Who gets children pajamas for Christmas?
I got pajamas.
But like you're supposed to get
Books,
like
pajamas.
toys and cool stuff when you're like a kid.
It's the
And
idea
puzzles.
of getting a gift.
I would have been very
It's like-
happy to receive a book.
Remember
would've
when we
been-
were kids and it's like the joke was like if you get socks for Christmas, it's like, oh no.
Now I really
now if
want
I get
socks.
socks for
Yeah.
Christmas, it's
I
like
would love
I'm down.
some really cute little frilly socks.
Yeah, but at like 11, I'd be
Yeah.
like, where are my Transformers figurines?
Where are my Legos?
Where no, I can never mind. That was
I am
about to just
not-
come out of me.
I am not a super social person, so I spent most of Thanksgiving reading a book and watching one of the youngest cousins sleep. Eventually, we all gathered up so the kids could draw names of their cousins for the gift swap. They finish that up, and then husband's brother, who we'll just call Timmy, says, an uncle husband will buy all the kids a gift too. As in OP's husband.
Yeah. Isn't it always nice when people tell you what you're going to do before you
And you're like,
have heard anything about it?
and you're like, oh, I wasn't aware of this.
Oh, okay.
Cue my husband and I giving him looks of the F and F you. We laughed and said, oh no, haha, we'll just be bringing the candy again this year. His brother then started in that we should buy all of the children gifts since we have none. Dude, that's the point of not having kids.
Yeah, how does that work?
You buy your own, you had your kids.
They're like,
buy them gifts.
We have to pay for these things all year. You guys should be able to buy presents one time a year.
And that it wasn't very Christian of us to not bless the children with our good fortune. My husband at this point pulled him aside into the kitchen and told him he wasn't buying all of the cousins' gifts. And if he wanted to, he was welcome to. They started to argue, and Timmy yelled that we shouldn't come to Christmas anymore. I handed over the baby. We left, said we'd email them about it later when they calmed down enough to talk like adults. I just like someone else's viewpoint. My husband is really upset, and his parents are agreeing with Timmy that we should be giving more gifts since we have no one to buy them for but kids now. He threw the fact that we get no gifts from anyone at them, and they said, we're adults now, and Christmas is for kids. Your family sounds lame.
It
What
sounds
do you
like
mean
they're...
it's just for kids.
These people have a vendetta against you.
Yeah, they don't like you.
It's not about... Yeah, they're just like, we just want to... We're just...
Yeah.
I don't know. It almost feels like jealousy. I wonder why.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, they have a kids-free lifestyle.
Because they have no
and we
kids.
have 6 children that we can't buy Christmas presents for.
Sounds like an issue, not an ish me.
Yeah, that's your
Yeah.
problem, man. Should have
You know what's crazy,
been
too?
more careful.
They might have been able to swing this if they had just, maybe tried to have a conversation about it like a
Hey,
normal
do you mind
person.
helping out with Christmas presents this year? We're having
Yes.
some financial troubles. But it was like, you are buying our kids' Christmas presents.
Because us, the people with kids, say so.
Yeah.
We have the power.
No, you don't. He pointed out they gifted Timmy and his wife things, but they said that we'd already bought it. Might as well. What?
Well,
But I have been
might
shopping.
as well.
But I have been shopping with his mother, and she bought gifts. And she bought gifts for Timmy's wife, Candy, again this year already. So all of the other adults are getting gifts except for OP and OP's husband. It seems.
Mhm.
I'm frustrated and feel like no one is handling any of this well. And I want to step in and help my husband, but I want someone else to look at this mess before I do anything other than listen and offer suggestions of using I feel blank when you blank to his parents. And there is an update, but what do you think OP should do?
I mean, like, first of all, stand on business and don't be like, actually, I might have just flipped in my own head in real time because
Whoa.
now I'm thinking the coolest thing that you could do is actually buying all of the kids Christmas presents, and now all the kids actually like you guys better than everyone else in the family.
Bribe them. Or you buy them all coal.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
no,
Or you buy them all a lump.
A
You
lump
just-
of coal. And you say, I want you guys to turn this into a business.
Yeah, they've
Start
got.
selling coal.
I can see it in my mind's eye. They've got the fireplace running, right? They've been
Yeah.
running it all day. The family's all gathered around for Christmas, and then they put the fire out, and they just get like a shovel,
Mm-hmm.
and they start picking up the coals, and they just like, all right, kids, hold out your hands, and they just shake a little bit of
Hot
coal
coals?
ash. No, after it's
okay.
been
I
put
was
out.
Like, wow, you're like torturing these
Or
kids.
like, yeah, we're gonna toughen you up now. We're gonna give you hot coal.
Dang. But there is an update. I think you just need to not buy these kids gifts. And say if you guys want us to give your kids gifts, then give us gifts.
Well, yeah, no,
Give us gifts.
buy the gifts for the kids, not because their parents told you to, but because now the kids are gonna be on your side.
And rally them against their parents.
And they'll stay on your side forever.
And then they'll get you gifts.
Like I said recently, I still remember who got me my foosball table when I was 9.
Oh, that's nice.
They were
I
the
don't
best uncle.
remember like any of the gifts I got. Update 1. So I'm not 100% sure where I should start. I am about 3 drinks in just to calm myself. For one, I did show my husband the post after we talked. I brought up T-Day 2015 and asked him if he wanted some more input than I normally give on his family drama. He said yes. I pointed out the favoritism of his brother over him in almost anything. I made a list showing times when it had happened where they were and he were fully in the wrong just to prove the point. We went over the text from his brother, sister-in-law, mother, father, aunt, and cousin, just to recap the names. Brother, Timmy. Sister-in-law, Candy. Mother, Rhonda. Father, Keith. Aunt, Kira. Cousin, Ben. Husband, Todd. This is shorter than husband. I'm lazy.
Todd.
So the problem people were like Timmy last time, right? Timmy and Candy. They
Yeah,
were the ones who
Timmy-
wanted all those presents for their kids.
Timmy loves candy, and they wanted. Sorry, I just needed to say Timmy loves candy.
Timmy loves Candy.
But yeah, they were the ones who were being like, yeah, look,
yeah.
they signed up to buy everybody presents
Yeah.
because they're childless.
So the day I posted after we went over the texts, which started after we missed their call and went up until we sent the email, all just spiteful crap about how we wasted our money, time, and life volunteering and don't spend enough time with their children, cousins' children, family anymore. It started out telling Todd he was being a Candy A.B. who is whipped by his cold, harpy, child-hating wife. Who started?
Yeah.
Who
so
started that?
it sounds like my initial theory was these people just like have a problem with you guys.
They hate you. They hate you because you don't have the same lifestyle as them, and that's the only lifestyle that they understand.
Yeah, they're
which
like,
is
if you don't
having
have
kids.
15 children, we don't
We
think
hate
you're
you.
a real person.
That is insane. It started out with the family telling him he was
A candy butt B word.
also just using what? Who was whipped by his cold, harpy, child-hating wife. Dang, man.
Guys, if
Yeah,
you're
they just hate OP because she doesn't want to have kids.
if you're broke, just say so, guys.
Literally. And just degraded from there. Todd only sent back a few saying he'd email him about it and asked him not to talk about me. So we sent the email. Here's basically what we sent, semi-edited. Todd sent it as if it was just from him. We almost added in his parents, but decided we'd just forward it to them if it got really out of hand. No problem. Timmy did it for him.
Oh, that's so thoughtful, Timmy.
Thank you, Timmy, for exposing yourself. Yes, well, that went over about as well as water on a grease fire. For one, Timmy forwarded the email to Rhonda and Keith, Kira, and Ben. That was rude, but we were going to do the same thing either way. Ben sent us an email letting us know what Timmy did and said he was sorry he wasn't there to jump in, but would try and talk to Timmy. Timmy and Ben are actually really close, so it was nice to see he thought Timmy was being unreasonable as well, since they are normally very close / like-minded. I'm not going to put his email here. I'm just going to highlight what he said and then tell you what Keith and Rhonda said in their email / visit. 1. I am a cold, child-hating harpy and I sleep around. Dang.
That is just these people have it so
They
out
hate
for you.
They hate you.
Like they hate you so much it makes me question like what did you do? Like and not that you did anything.
No, it's just like
But it's so much hate. I feel like it needs a source.
reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm an atheist. This is 2. I'm an atheist or Muslim or something he never really picked. It's like, she's not a Christian, I can tell you that much.
Yeah, that's really all it comes down to.
Yeah, it's like she's a Muslim or an atheist.
Which are pretty
She
much
might be a Hindu. I don't know.
yeah,
Not
she's
Christian.
Buddhist, Zoroastrianism, Baha'i.
She's been dabbling in Taoism.
Yeah, dabbling in Tao. Or is it Taoism? Is it Tao or is it Tao? Fun fact, it's both.
It's
now
both.
let's go back to it.
3, I am dragging Todd from the church and his family. 4, we don't spend any time at all with the family anymore. I wonder why. They all freaking
Oh,
suck.
so the dragging Todd
Yeah.
from the church thing. I guess maybe they're like a little more hardcore
I think so.
evangelical-ish, and they're just like,
I think it's like,
Oh,
woman's
he's a
place
demon.
is a mother.
"Oh, he's a demon,
Mm-hmm.
taking our Todd away from us."
Are we on number 5? I don't know. We never spend any time with our nibblings. Number 6, we are wasting our lifetime money volunteering with animals. Maybe number 7, helping / wanting to help refugees was un-American. Helping and wanting to help refugees is un-American, and this is my fault. since I am a first-generation American and don't understand what it means to be one / deserve to live there.
Yeah, these people just suck really bad. These people are just like, it's just, I don't know. Sometimes a broke clock isn't right at all because the hands on the clock are
They're
also
broken
not
off.
even there. They can't even tell
Sometimes,
time.
I'm
So-
rude and never talk to them unless it's about animal rescue / animal rights. Yeah, so at this point we're kind of laughing and kind of crying and kind of shocked. We spent the rest of the day cleaning up our house and talking about what we wanted to do / reply back. We hadn't checked our email and we'd stuck our phones on vibrate and we were just trying to enjoy our day off together. They're pretty rare, sadly. So, surprise, his parents drove all the way out to talk to us. I say talk, but it was more like being talked at. They asked me to leave so they could talk to Todd about his actions / rude email. Todd said no. Said I was his family and his wife and we were handling this together.
I just love how they were like, we need to talk to him about his rude email.
Yeah,
you
Todd's
you
rude
cold, heartless, harpy witch. Let us talk to your husband. Like,
Literally.
he's rude.
They then tried to convince us we had said F in front of the family. We didn't, that we had mentioned buying gifts for everyone before, that we didn't love Jesus anymore since we hadn't been going to church, and some of what Timmy had sent in the email too. When his father started to insult me and then in turn my father, Todd was done. He stood up and said, "Thank you for coming to visit us in our home for the first time, but we have errands to run and you need to leave now."
Oh, I see where it's going.
They refused. He told them they had to go now or he'd have to call the police. Todd's not letting this slide. They left.
Can't wait.
He cried. I cried. Our cats knocked over their cups.
Okay, well now
Our
after
cat's
the
crude.
after the crying line, I feel a little weird for having clapped and smiled.
Well, yeah, because we thought the bad people were going to the
Thought
police.
they were gonna go to the police
The
station.
police. But the cats knocked over the bad vibes in the parents' cups.
The glass was not half full.
We ended up calling my dad and telling him everything as well as showing him both emails. He told us they have talked crap about us before to him. You should be able to fix your child. Still, we're working on ours. Wait, what? You should be
You
able to
should-
fix your
yeah.
child. Still, we're working on ours.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
like it's
Still,
like
we're still working on
we're
ours.
still working on ours.
Yeah.
Well, you can't fix them.
Can't fix them. Was something he told us had been said. We decided we aren't going to their Christmas either way. I told Todd I can't go back there again, nor can I look at any of them the same again. I knew they'd always not liked me as much as some of the other daughter-in-laws, but I didn't know it was to that extent. They have always been nice and polite to my face, invited and included me in all events. No one had ever said anything to Todd either. As it stands, I'm waiting for my dad and brother to get into town, and then we're going to sit down and decide what we would like to do. Todd said he just wants it to be small and doesn't mind where Christmas happens, and said he felt closer to my dad and brother anyway. We told Ben what happened and shipped his gift off to him. I haven't decided yet what I will do with the Nibblings gifts, but I've already donated all of the adult gifts. So OP had gifts for everyone? I think that's the funniest part.
That's the tragic
They had
twist.
gifts for everyone, and just the fact that they were all demanding them. or something.
They rooted them out of existence
Yeah.
for being so stinky and
Stinky
rude.
bad people. And there is another update. But yeah, your family sucks.
I mean, like, how hard would it have been to? Because I can understand if you're from a family that like heavily emphasizes like traditional family values and like you want it like there's an emphasis on having kids. There's an emphasis on like doing things like by the book, so
Yeah.
to speak, right? There's not necessarily anything inherently wrong with that, but like if you're gonna be like I don't know, like you're like plotting against OP and her
Yeah.
husband because they don't have kids, when you could have just.
Focus on your
If
kids.
you had presented it as a way where it's like, hey, you know what would be a great way to get all the kids to be like, oh, these are the fun
The
aunt and the
fun-
fun
yeah.
uncle. Get all of the kids gifts. They don't have
Yeah.
to be huge, but something maybe like for us, it was always like Nerf stuff. It's like
Mm,
all the like
classic.
cousins and everyone like at the at the family events. Now we're all playing around it. It's a
Yeah.
bonding moment. if you approach that with the correct way, like a conversation.
But yeah, I think, I mean, they definitely could have asked in a better way, and they
Yeah.
didn't. And now OP and her husband hate them because they freaking suck.
It's all about presentation, folks.
My friend Sandy grew up near me. We've been friends for years, and she became friends with Timmy and his wife, too. They are friends together on Facebook. We had told her that there was a tiff, but didn't elaborate to not damage their friendship. Big mistake.
Oh no.
Since she tagged us in her "woo, look at my gift, QQ, my friend is leaving me" for Xmas post. What?
QQ is like
QQ?
that's a cry. That's like a old school crying emoji.
Oh,
It's like the tears going down the eyes.
Whoa!
Shout out to all my fellow old people who remember the world before emojis existed.
Dang, okay. The photo is of the two of us drinking while dancing around her new Roomba. I will note this isn't just for her Christmas, it's for her Christmas, birthday, and her wedding, as well as a housewarming gift. You really packed it all together. Her and her soon-to-be husband, Bill, just bought a new townhouse near us. I normally wouldn't buy something that expensive just for Christmas. So Timmy saw the post. Not only did he take offense to us drinking, none of them drink/are against drinking, he really flipped his lid about her getting a Roomba.
How
He's like,
dare
not
you?
only were you drinking, but you have a Roomba?
You're taking away jobs from all the vacuum manufacturers.
He lost his crap in the comments and then showed up at our apartment. I was in the shower when Timmy showed up. I heard someone knocking on the door, which had to be pretty loud to hear it all the way in the master bedroom shower. I finished the shower around midway through Todd and Tim fighting. Todd said he was beating the door down. He opened the door and refused to let Tim in any further than the hallway. Tim was yelling at him about the gift, about his lack of church going, about us going out of town, demanding his kids' gifts, I donate them, and asking where we got off buying such a pricey gift for someone who isn't related and being selfish a-holes about gifting the other children. That is not the way to get presents.
No, it's
You're
not.
on
Santa's
the
naughty
naughty
list now.
list.
Yeah.
Santa's naughty list.
You're getting some hot coals
Hot
for Christmas.
You're getting reindeer poop, brother.
Mm-hmm. Steaming
Reindeer
poop.
jerky.
So
Also
around this point, I came out of the shower after putting on PJs. It's nearly 1 a.m. Girl, why are you taking a shower at 1 a.m.?
Hey, whoa,
Hey,
That's
whoa.
crazy.
Whoa, hey.
A shower at 1 a.m.?
You don't take a late night shower once in a blue moon because it's just what needs to be done.
Only if I've gone to a party and like people smoked there and I smell like smoke. That's the only no.
I mean,
But people.
well, I went out last night and I danced so hard it looked like I had ran a triathlon, so I had to shower at 2 a.m. last night.
Yeah.
Well, that's different. In this case, it just seems like she showers at 1 a.m.
Maybe she just wants to take a night shower. Or a
Anyway,
morning shower.
I came out to see
life.
Timmy.
Yeah.
I'm kind of shocked. Todd tells Tim it's late, and we can talk about this when we get back from holiday with the pastor. He pushes Todd. Todd falls back into the wall, putting a dent into it. Whoa.
Oh.
This woke my dad and Theo. Who's Theo?
Who is Theo?
Wait, I think.
Okay. I moved in front of Todd since Tim was pulling back to hit him. He hit me, knocking me down on top of Todd. Dad and Theo restrained him. Our next door neighbor was woken up and called 911. Arrest this man. Tim, I don't think you know anything about Christianity,
Yes.
sir.
This is not in the spirit of Christmas.
No. Grinch. You're worse than the Grinch. 'Cause
Go-
at least the Grinch
Go get your heart checked,
had a change of heart.
Grinch man.
Literally. Oh my God, he had a change of heart.
Yeah, he did.
literally
He
had
had
to
to change.
change
He
the
had a
heart.
heart.
They had to
He had a
change
heart
the heart.
replacement
Wow.
because it enlarged so much. He needed a new one.
Cops showed up, separated all of us. We told them what had happened, didn't tell them about the other problems, shortened it up to there had been a Christmas disagreement. They also called an ambulance since Todd cut his arm on a dish that broke and my face was quickly turning purple. Oh my gosh. The EMS who showed up know Todd and were very upset about him and I being hurt. The cops asked us if we wanted to press charges. I started to say no. Todd said yes.
Yeah, absolutely
Yes!
say yes. Don't
He
say
punched you in
no.
the face. So Tim was arrested. We went to the ER since Todd needed some stitches. Our phones have been blowing up ever since. I turned mine off after I told Sandy she needed to not let Tim and Candy see any posts about us since they're pissed. She said, okay. I went, though, and unfriended/grouped anyone who was also friends with any in-law family into a restricted group so they can't see anything we're up to again. I hope. Rhonda and Keith have been blowing up Todd's phone, and he only answered them in texts with what happened, that we would not drop charges or pay his bail, and to stop contacting us at all.
W.
Yeah. Between the last update and this one, we had talked to some other family members, and they all said they disagreed with Timmy. His grandparents said they did too, but that they couldn't host the Christmas and couldn't stop him from uninviting us. They said they would talk to him, and we were like, okay, cool. Maybe by next year we can be friends again. Friends with Tim?
Yeah, wait, what?
You like sent him to jail.
Yeah, don't be.
Rightfully so, but don't be friends with him.
I would hope.
Stitches
I
were
hope that
involved,
we're not talking about Tim.
I hope not. That isn't the case anymore at all. There is no coming back
Okay,
from this.
maybe we are talking about Tim. So yeah, don't go back. He's beyond. He's in the black hole. He is.
Oh, okay.
Spaghetti.
Basically, OP is saying that before the police stuff happened with Tim, they had originally talked about, talked to some other family members who disagree with Tim, and said that they were still going to like host Christmas and stuff, or they couldn't host Christmas.
They're like, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Well, at some point, maybe we'll let this go.
Yeah,
We'll get back to normal.
but now he's like, no, that's not.
Now
happening.
we're throwing him in jail.
Where
where he belongs.
What?
Where he belongs, which is jail.
By the way, you guys belong with us every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube.
Yes.
Just tap our profile.
Just
and also
tap-
TikTok and Facebook.
TikTok, Facebook, Twitch. We're there.
We're there.
Every weekday, 3
and if
p.m.
you're
PST.
Not, you're square.
And if you're watching this in the future, we might be there. We might be live right now. So go check right after this, because we do have a little bit of story left.
It's true. We'll be filing a restraining order when we get home. Todd is talking about us moving out of our home state. Wow. Dad and Theo, who's Theo, think this is a good idea.
We need the whiteboard.
Who's Theo?
We need the whiteboard.
We do.
I'll wipe that off today.
Dad is annoyed that I wouldn't let him hit Tim. So he's sulking a bit, but I think it's more. I think Theo's maybe OP's brother.
I couldn't say. There were a lot of names that got thrown after that second update.
But I think it's more that he's upset that we have lost another family, basically. So, yeah. I get to enjoy my trip with a black eye / cheek. Ooh, Todd has a 4-inch gash on his arm. Dad is sulking, and Theo is happy since he's smoking pot. So, A+ Christmas! Woo! Yeah, I think Theo is OP's brother.
Yeah.
And she was saying that her brother and her dad were staying at their house when Tim showed up. And that's, and all the problems are with her in-laws.
Yeah, so never contact Tim again.
No.
That's over.
No,
and if
never get his
anybody tries
kids
to put
gifts.
the blame for this situation on you,
They're crazy.
kindly refer them to the guy who's in jail
Yeah.
right now.
Just send them the police report and say, ooh, doesn't seem very Christian of you.
You might want to tell the police that it was my fault, because they ended up arresting this other guy who, newsflash, it was his fault.
It's his fault this whole time.
Anyway.
My future sister-in-law is problematic, so we moved our wedding to avoid her.
You must really suck.
Yeah. Hi, I'm using a fake account because several of my in-laws are aware of my other account. So I am female 31. My now husband is male 30, and my sister-in-law is female 19. My husband does not have the best relationship with his sister due to his parents favoring her. Mother-in-law, female 59, father-in-law 59. By the way, this comes from Dangerous Sunday 558 on the OK Storytime subreddit. So a little background. My husband's parents were having marital issues and heading for divorce around the time my husband's sister was conceived. When they found out that they were pregnant, they decided to seek counseling and get help. In the end, they resolved their problems and the relationship became stronger. That's great.
Love that.
They view their daughter as the reason they were able to save their marriage. That would be a lot of pressure on that child.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, I can't mess up. She is spoiled. Some examples. They got her a car for her birthday. She totaled in 4 days. She borrowed her mom's mom's car after and had it totaled too. Due to her reckless driving, the insurance company will not allow her to be insured under her parents. We were dating at the time when his mother asked my husband if he could please put her on his insurance and she would pay. My husband at the time was buying a new car and didn't want to deal with this situation and told his mother no. Another example was we had gotten tickets to see Taylor Swift in Europe for a vacation alone. His sister found out and demanded that she go instead of me. His father called and demanded that we change our plans and he take his sister. My husband said he could not do that because he didn't pay for the vacation or the tickets. My parents did.
What?
We were harassed for a month for this. Finally, 3 months after we were engaged, we visited his parents. At the time, his sister had a friend living with her and her parents, female 17. This friend developed a crush on my husband. He was extremely uncomfortable with the girl's attention towards him. His sister wanted them to date and asked his parents to talk to him about it. He refused and said he was engaged and also not interested in teen girls.
What?
Now to the wedding. My in-laws are only attending if I make my sister-in-law a bridesmaid. I agreed to keep the peace and gave it to her as an honorary role and don't expect her to be involved as much as my other bridesmaids. The problem started immediately. First, she was flirting with another bridesmaid's boyfriend and sending him inappropriate texts. We don't know how she got the number. Did
What?
he give it to her?
I
feel like
guess
if she
maybe.
got the number,
She really has a thing for home wrecking.
I guess she's like, either I'm gonna help someone else home wreck or I'm gonna do it myself. She refused to walk with her cousin, who is a groomsman, and tried to get her parents involved to switch to walk next to the best man and bump my maid of honor. Her reason was because she couldn't hook up with her cousin. The best man is currently in a long-term relationship with the maid of honor, and they are how we met. The final straw was with what she did to my maid of honor. My maid of honor is my cousin and my best friend. My maid of honor is the same age as me. We are born 3 months apart to the day. We get mistaken as sisters, or sometimes our extended family mixes us up. Our moms are sisters. I am protective of my maid of honor and the godmother to her children. My maid of honor is hard of hearing and has to wear hearing aids due to an infection she had as a child. My maid of honor sometimes talks loud because she can't hear and judge her own volume. She doesn't have any accent. She had to do speech therapy for years as a child and had to attend a school for children with hearing disabilities until middle school. My sister-in-law has been teasing my maid of honor non-stop, yelling and saying, I just wanted to make sure she heard me. She made reference to my godchildren being born out of wedlock and said her boyfriend, the best man and the father of her children, will come to his senses and find a tight woman. My maid of honor has been quiet about all of this because she doesn't want to cause problems for me and my in-laws. I found out because my other bridesmaids told me after the bridal shower. At the bridal shower, my husband and myself both were aware and gave our blessing to have his best man propose to my cousin, the maid of honor. Wow. I don't want anyone to propose at my wedding.
Yeah, that's a lot.
No,
I did have a cousin do that though.
Did they get
It
permission?
was cute.
Okay.
But
okay.
I don't want that.
It happened and everyone was as excited except for my sister-in-law. The final straw was when my maid of honor was heading back to the table. She took out her hearing aids because the music was causing her a headache. The hearing aids were in a glass of water with my sister-in-law laughing.
What?
I'd kick her out immediately.
Jerk.
I'd kick her out immediately.
That is actually
That's insane.
diabolical.
That's insane. That's like if someone who wore glasses took off their glasses and she smashed them.
That is like a demon.
That's insane.
Wow.
Also, hearing aids are incredibly expensive.
Yeah, that's actually, how rude.
So rude. Like literally just taking away someone's like ability to hear. I was done and removed her from the wedding party. Good.
As she should.
And disinvited her from the wedding unless she's in therapy. My in-laws were blowing up her phones saying that their daughter was only joking around and that's her sense of humor and my maid of honor can't take a joke. They said if she cannot come to the wedding, they will not come. This has been going on for months. And there are some updates, but do you have any other thoughts besides
Then don't
the fact
come.
that she's terrible? Yeah, don't come.
Don't come.
Don't come. If I were OP, I'd be like, thank God my in-laws aren't coming because they're crazy.
That's just wild that like grown adults are like,
Yeah.
oh, haha, she's almost an adult / is an
Yeah.
adult. And they're like, she's just joking.
She's just a jokester. Updates 24 hours later from the bridal shower. Wow. I call my fiance my husband because we are technically legally married. We just didn't have a ceremony yet. This was done earlier in the year for insurance issues. 2, my maid of honor, my cousin, was able to get her hearing aids replaced by an audiologist. She had them insured. My husband covered the deductible. Not for his sister's sake, but because he cares for my cousin and was embarrassed. My husband's family is on our side. Apparently, we have been flooded with phone calls and messages of support from his family. The reason why, they also have stories of how badly my sister-in-law has acted towards them. My husband has already said that my family is his, and anyone who mistreats anyone I care about is not his people.
Boom.
Yeah, so I guess like his mom, dad, and his sister are all kind of like the most hated people in the family. We have decided with the help of our wedding planning to do a destination wedding, pushing the wedding date back 6 months in Hawaii. We got most of our deposits back. Family is helping with the rest. My husband has called his parents and told them they are not invited, and his sister will not be invited. They are livid and have started, as of an hour ago, going to social media to tell their side of the story. They claim that their daughter was just making jokes and pranks. Nobody has been buying it. They tried to contact my parents, who shut them down immediately. We have other family members who also are hard of hearing or deaf due to a genetic condition that runs in the family. Most of the family is hearing, but everyone looks out for the members that are not. They are embarrassed and hung up the phone. This is where we are now, and we'll update if things change. And there is an update. So I guess things did change.
Yeah. I mean, I think what they did was valid.
We are no contact with my husband's parents. Thank you for following my advice. Appreciate it. Or sister. We get updates from my husband's aunt, his father's sister. First, my maid of honor's hearing aids are replaced after talking to her and asking what she wants to do. She doesn't want to be involved in a lawsuit or anything going forward so long as she's left alone by my husband's sister. She doesn't want any negative energy in her life. I am going to respect her boundaries on the matter. However, if anything happens, she will file a restraining order against my husband's sister. As for my mother-in-law and father-in-law, as per my husband's aunt, they are in a bind. They came crying to my husband's aunt. Apparently, their insurance company found out they were letting their daughter drive their cars.
Interesting.
Even though they were warned she would not be insured under their policy, and the insurance company dropped them. We don't know if sister-in-law got into another accident or someone reported this to the insurance company. However, they were sobbing to my husband's aunt that they are struggling to find an insurance policy they can afford. My husband's aunt was tired of hearing the sob stories and brought up the bridal shower incident and how her own daughter had been bullied by sister-in-law. She was embarrassed for her nephew, my husband. My mother-in-law and father-in-law said that sister-in-law confessed she was jealous of my maid of honor's relationship with the best man. She apparently had a long crush on him and was upset that he was getting engaged to maid of honor. Mother-in-law and father-in-law tried to excuse this behavior as a teenage girl acting out. My husband's aunt was having none of it and told them that they ruined their daughter and probably ruined their relationship with my husband and any future with us. My husband's aunt asked them to leave and said she hopes they get everything they deserve for how they treat their children. She was not going to help them with their insurance problems. My husband's cousin, 20 years old and a lovely girl, she's a beauty queen and a makeup artist. My husband's sister was known for breaking her makeup palettes and beauty supplies out of jealousy. My husband's aunt doesn't allow my sister-in-law over the house and will lock the doors to certain rooms in her house during family gatherings because of several incidents in the past. Now, for sister-in-law, she still lives with my in-laws. She lost her job. Nobody knows why. And frankly, I don't care to know. She is not in college due to poor grades and lack of direction. She blames me for her family not talking to her and being kicked out of the wedding party. And I'm proud I did, so she can blame me as much as she likes. But I would be proud of you guys if you joined us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. Just tap our profile. We'll be so proud of you. And there is a little bit left to this story, but I think all the right moves were made. You got this sister-in-law out of your life, and you're about to get married, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, the sister-in-law needs to like get her life together. I'm
It's
sorry,
just-
I don't know what's going on, girlfriend, but you need to figure it out.
Well, I think you're right. I think the parents enabled her throughout her
did,
whole
yeah.
life, and now she's just this spoiled brat who like has no consequences for any of her actions.
Yeah.
As for our wedding celebration, we are doing a small ceremony on the beach, and any family that wishes to come can book a hotel on the main island. We are not going to give the location of the wedding or the reception until the day of the wedding, except for the wedding party, and we will hire security. I'll update you when it happens or anything else happens. And that is the end of the story. I hope that your wedding went well and that
I hope she
telling
didn't
everyone
crash it.
that everyone was able to make it.
Yeah.
finding out like well, I guess they knew the time.
I hope the security had to tackle someone.
Yeah, I sure hope
I
so.
really hope
'Cause
that the
otherwise,
security
like,
was
what-
worth it.
yeah.
Like
It's
otherwise,
why
what
would
the
you pay
heck?
for that if
Yeah,
you're not gonna
I
talk
hope
to
somebody
someone?
tried to crash it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if I ever have to have security at a wedding, I'm gonna be like, okay, someone out of the audience has to get tackled
Yeah.
to make
To
this
be
worth
fair,
it.
I thought security was required for events after a certain number, especially
guess
if
it
there's
depends on the venue.
alcohol involved.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, anyways, I hope the wedding went well.
But that is the end of that story. So let's get into the next one.
We offered temporary housing to my sister-in-law, but now I wanted to move out.
Hey, sorry, this is temporary. It's time for you to go.
So I need some perspective on a situation with my sister-in-law. Here's some background. My sister-in-law had a very difficult childhood with absent parents. Her mom has mental health issues and is somewhat narcissistic. Sister-in-law lived with her uncle for years, but after a fight with him, she moved in with her mom. They had a falling out too, leaving her with nowhere to stay. By the way, this comes from legitimate disc 9155 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So my husband, 30s male, and I live in a 1-bedroom apartment. Feeling bad for her situation, we offered to let her stay temporarily while she figured out something more permanent. I assumed she'd find a room quickly since she wanted to live with her boyfriend, but that didn't happen. About a month into her stay, we found out I'm pregnant. This news shifted my perspective on having her here, especially as we'll need time and space to prepare for the baby. We gave her a move out deadline for the end of January. Sister-in-law attends a laid-back school, but she didn't have a job or means to support herself. My husband and I convinced her to get a job, and we helped her apply for an apartment. She was offered one, but she didn't want it, calling it the middle of nowhere. Public transport makes it accessible, but she'd need to walk sometimes 15 minutes from the station. We eventually convinced her to accept it because we need our space back. The issue: sister-in-law has been skipping school despite needing to pass this semester to continue her studies. We've encouraged her to stay on track because we want her to succeed. And a few days ago, I stayed home due to a doctor's appointment and needed to work for a couple of hours beforehand. I woke sister-in-law up because my workspace is in the living room and it was time for her to go to school. She refused, saying she'd visited the apartment building the night before, thought it looked like a jail, and felt too depressed to do anything.
She's like, this is reminding me of my baby cage. I don't think I can live
I won't
here.
go back. Let me know. She even said that if this is what life is like, she doesn't want to live. Concerned, I texted my husband, who called her to discuss it. She cried, telling him she's too depressed to handle work or school and can't live in the apartment. So when I returned from my appointment, they were still on the phone. My husband and I agreed later that she still needs to move back because the deposit is paid and we need our home back. I also want to clarify that my husband is very supportive of me in the sense that he tries to make me feel as comfortable as possible at all times. He's also very supporting of her, trying to encourage her to better herself so she can be successful in life. Yesterday, I overheard sister-in-law on the phone with a friend complaining about me. She was angry that I told my husband about her skipping school and mentioned other times she's been upset with me. I'll admit we don't have a great relationship, though I've always wished her well. I find her behavior frustrating. She seems just like a little bit immature.
Yeah, I would say so.
I've even avoided including her in dinners with friends or family, like her other brother and his wife, who I get along with great, to reclaim a sense of normalcy. Am I the a-hole for insisting she move out? I feel conflicted. On one hand, I understand she's struggling and has had a rough life. On the other, my husband and I need our space, especially with a baby on the way. I feel drained with her living with us. She's a very negative person, which affects me a lot since I'm a glass half full type person. I've tried to help her, but I also feel drained and resentful. Am I the a-hole? We have a big juicy update coming up for you. Do you think OP's the a-hole for wanting the sister-in-law out?
Just because you live in an apartment alone doesn't mean you have to stay there alone all the time, right? Like, I think maybe taking her out.
Yeah, booty calls.
Heather says OP the a-hole. Let's put a poll, not the a-hole or a-hole first. I want to thank everyone who commented on my original post. Your advice, perspectives, and even your congratulations on my pregnancy meant so much to me. It was helpful to hear from people who could relate and offer insights, and it made me feel a lot less alone in this situation. Thank you all. Now for the update. 9% of y'all saying a-hole and 91% saying not the a-hole. The big news: sister-in-law moved out yesterday. It was a long and emotionally draining process, but it finally happened. Over the past few days, my husband had several conversations with her, making it clear she needed to move out, but reassuring her that we would still support her, which I think is good as long as it is in ways that don't negatively affect us. He emphasized that while we care about her, she needs to take steps towards independence. On Saturday, we helped her pack up the things she had at our apartment. She also had belongings at her uncle's house, so we took out moving boxes for her to use. She had plans to view another apartment with a friend that day, so she left with her friend to shop for kitchen items, check out the apartment, and then pack the things at the uncle's house. I found out later that she did not go to the viewing or pack at the uncle's house. She instead went to shop and then to see the apartment she was moving into. Later that evening, around 7 p.m., she called us in a panic, saying she could not and would not move into the apartment. I will not be in that house. I will not be in that house with that mouse.
I will not be in that house if I can. I will not be in that house. That's my plan.
So she claimed it was falsely advertised, didn't look like the photos, and that she couldn't decorate it in the way that she wanted. The apartment was dirty, which was true. It was gross, especially the bathroom, and it had some basic furniture, a bed, table, chairs, and clothes hangers she hadn't expected. Is a clothes hanger a furniture? Is that how low we're
Yeah, dude, why is this a problem? That's called, like, you got bonus furniture.
Yeah.
She's like, the apartment's furnished.
She was overwhelmed and upset. During this call, I almost had a panic attack. I refused to engage, leaving my husband to handle it. He got so frustrated, a rare occurrence for him, that he told her, I don't care where you move, but you have to move. She ended the call saying she'd figure something out.
You pushed him to that point.
You pushed him.
You know,
Goth Princess says, girl, please. Heidi says, is she depressed or a brat? Probably a bit of both. Moving day yesterday morning, her dad arrived with the moving truck, and as planned, we wanted to start early since it was Sunday, but sister-in-law resisted getting up early. My husband and his dad ended up spending 1.5 hours talking to her about the situation. I stayed out of it because I knew I'd get frustrated and say something I'd regret. During their conversation, sister-in-law expressed anger about her childhood and kept saying how others pity her, but her family doesn't. She's like, everyone else feels bad for me, but it's because everyone else just has to feel bad for you. Your family actually has to pick up the pieces.
Yeah,
you know, your friends could be like, oh, that sucks so much. I'm not going to do anything.
Maybe your family is less inclined to pity you because they've known you forever.
Yeah.
And they've been exposed to your behavior.
They've dealt with
Forever.
your crap for way too long. She also said things like, in 3 months, I'll probably be homeless and jobless again, which felt manipulative, like she was trying to guilt my husband. Both my husband and his dad made it clear that the move was happening and emphasized that she needs to learn to take care of herself. Once they started the actual move, I decided to join to keep things on track. Okay, so everyone's coming together. We cleaned her new apartment thoroughly, even renting a steam cleaner to sanitize everything. We cleaned the whole thing from top to bottom. Sister-in-law helped with the cleaning, so it wasn't just us doing all the work. And fortunately, it's a very small, like a dorm with a kitchenette and bathroom. We also took her to IKEA to buy a new mattress, as the one provided was unusable. We helped her unpack some items, but by the time we left, it was very late. Her friend came over to continue helping her set up. Her reaction, well, when we left, she seemed more positive, saying she liked the idea of being able to decorate and make the place her own. I tried to stay encouraging throughout the day, pointing out the good things about the apartment and her new independence.
Yes.
So
guiding. Here's go this way. This is the good way. Hey, look,
this is a good way.
Things can be good over here.
It might be closing time for our apartment, but it's a new beginning for yours. That said, her mood can change quickly, so we'll see how she feels moving forward. And I feel like if you want to feel good moving forward, you should join our live streams every weekday, 3 p.m. PST, right here on Facebook and YouTube. Just tap her profile. We're probably live right now. Kalua Spruill says, might be terrible to say, I understand the sister-in-law POV. It's scary going into the world alone after being carried through life. Best thing is to let her figure out, I know because it happened to me in a similar way, and now I'm much wiser and better for it. And Miss Rami says they went all out helping her clean and decorate. They also got her the apartment, and also I think helping her clean and decorate with her helped her see it a little bit more clearly. Helped her see like, hey, this is what your new life can be. This is what autonomy looks like. It's actually kind of good. But we got an update to this story. So final thoughts. For now, I'm just relieved to be having my living room back and to finally start decorating for Christmas. Woo! It feels like a weight has been lifted, and I'm hopeful that this move will help her grow and take responsibility for her life. Thank you again to everyone who offered advice and support. Wishing you all a happy holiday season. That's where that story ends.
I'm not going to visit my mother-in-law ever again. She only favors my brother-in-law.
Favoritism.
Makes the world spin.
I, 24 female, and my boyfriend, Nathan, 26 male, have been together for 6 years. This year, we traveled to his parents' house for Thanksgiving. For context, Nathan is one of 4 brothers. Alex, single. Jack, married to Jill. Nathan, me, and Luke, married to Millie with a nearly 2-year-old. Congrats. Everyone lives out of state except for Luke and Millie with a 2-year-old. Nathan and I have the longest drive at 9 hours. By the way, this comes from 1 Street 51 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So here's the issue. Nathan's parents, Mary and John, have only 2 guest bedrooms. 3 couples tend to visit at a time, meaning someone has to sleep on an air mattress in between the rooms. The first year I visited, I was told they would rotate who gets the air mattress to keep it fair. But after 3 years on it, we were told it was now first come, first serve. Okay, so we're changing the rules up a little bit. Nathan's job doesn't allow much holiday. I already know how it feels. I live this every day. So we're almost always last to arrive and stuck on the air mattress. While annoyingly, we understood it seemed logical. This year was different. Nathan and I got Monday through Thursday off and would arrive first. I talked to Mary about how we were finally going to get a bedroom, and she laughed saying, "Yep, first come, first serve."
Boo.
Millie, who I've grown close to, knew we were thrilled about the prospect of getting a bed this year. She even decided to come early too so we could hang out. And we planned I'd take the twin room. She'd take the queen. Here's where it gets frustrating. The day after we left, I texted Mary our ETA. A few hours later, Millie texted me saying Luke, who had spoken with Mary, who mentioned Jack and Jill would get the queen room, and Luke and Millie, the twin room, leaving Nathan and me on the air mattress again.
That's not fair.
I think Luke and Millie can have the queen room, and Jack and Jill can get the air mattress. They have a newborn.
Oh, they have the newborn. Yeah, they have babies. You don't have a baby.
Luke called Mary out, reminding her of the first come, first serve rule. But she suddenly claimed she never said that. What? Huh? I never said that. You're probably acting crazy. You're probably on meds. And justified her decision because Jack and Jill would be staying an extra day. For context, Jack and Jill were arriving a day later than us, so this reasoning felt like an excuse. When we arrived, Nathan brought up the rule again, but Mary got defensive and claimed she didn't remember ever saying it and refused to budge. I said several sarcastic comments as I felt this was really unfair. I pointed out that rules are rules until they didn't serve Jill, and that we always do it a certain way until that means Jill has to take the air mattress, and she could come up with any justification, but that doesn't make it fair. I even pointed out that it's silly for us to now have to board out dogs and drive 8 hours before anyone else got here just to change the rules now. She had plenty of time to bring this up with our many conversations leading up to this. She became increasingly sassy about the situation, leaving us feeling defeated and, frankly, a little targeted. Am I the a-hole for speaking up over thinking Mary unfairly changed the rules to suit Jack and Jill, and that we're always stuck with the short end of the stick? And we got a freaking update. Is that fair?
It's definitely fair to bring it up. Yeah, no. You've been abiding by these rules, and you're like, I'll play the game, I'll follow the rules, and then when it comes to, like, your time to shine, or like, oh, they have to change the rules. It's not fair.
That makes no freaking sense.
I get it. Like, if there's a newborn, then I'll be like a little bit lenient. Like, okay, someone does deserve a room, but like, this is like, what's fair is fair.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. Not gonna lie.
You implemented rules for a reason. It's chaos if you didn't implement the rules and if we didn't follow the rules.
Update. Later Monday night, Nathan spoke to his mom, and we did get the bed for one night before Jack and Jill arrived. Initially, it was only offered for us to move to the air mattress into the queen bedroom for the night, but Nathan pointed out that we were being made to sleep on an air mattress when a bed was readily available.
Oh.
The next morning, Nathan had to run errands where we used to live before we moved. While he was gone, I washed the sheets and had remade the bed, even though Luke and Millie told me I didn't have to wash them, just remake the bed. While everyone in the family is very clean, Mary always insists on washing the sheets between visitors, so I did it out of respect to her preferences. Millie and Luke even offered for us to take their bed, but honestly, it wasn't just about the bed. It was about the promises that were made and then retracted, despite those rules being in place for years. It was also about the gaslighting and the fact that Mary didn't tell us ahead of time, even though there were so many chances to do so. As close friends to Luke and Millie, I didn't want them to be put in the position of being uncomfortable on the air mattress either. While I've never had a child myself, I know your body isn't the same afterwards, especially your back. We ultimately agreed to move the air mattress into Luke and Millie's room since they had a heater, and it gave us a little bit of privacy. We tried to make the most out of the holidays, enjoy our time there despite everything. Later, Mary mentioned plans to get 2 pull-out couches, one for the area between the rooms and one for the twin bedroom. While this was thoughtful, it still didn't address the issue of changing the rules to suit others. She's like, hey, here's the real thing. Why are we not talking about that? Why are we not talking about how much you love brother-in-law and not me?
Because you're not brother-in-law.
All right, well, stop talking about this air mattress and get to the real thing here, OP. Please. Mary has already stated that we will have a bedroom for Christmas, but if this promise is broken again, we won't stay at their house in the future. Nathan and I have decided that if we don't get a bed for Christmas, we'll stay in a hotel. We're still planning on going because it's Luke and Millie's son's birthday. For Thanksgiving next year, if there isn't enough room, we're staying home. However, Nathan and I are currently planning on getting a house, and Luke and Millie suggested that once we do, we could host Thanksgiving there. They said they'd love to attend, which is exciting because Millie and I are both avid bakers and love cooking. Whenever Millie and I bring dishes to these gatherings, they're barely touched except by us and our partners. We're also planning to visit Luke and Millie more often. They are considering moving closer to the parents, and when they host holidays in the future, will always have a guaranteed place at their home. They have backups. This is just the last time they will be either on the air mattress or on the bed.
They're saying put some respect on our name and the rules.
To address popular questions for info in the last post, Alex, he doesn't come for Thanksgiving. He only saves days off for Christmas. Also, he has rarely gotten put on an air mattress. Only once that I remembered that it was Luke and Millie's wedding. When all 4 of us bros used to come up for holidays, it was Alex and the twin, editor's note, twin bedroom, Luke, pre-marriage or girlfriend, on the air mattress in that room, Nathan and I in between rooms, and Jack and Jill in the queen. Hotel. This house is in the middle of nowhere. The closest decent hotel is about 45 minutes to an hour. That's me. That's where I live.
Oh, wow.
The main draw of visiting everyone except parents stay up late evenings playing board games, D&D, and drinking. We used to do a wasted gingerbread making contest. As for the distance to a hotel, that would mean missing out on hanging out, and there are no Ubers here. Also, before we moved this year, we didn't stay as many days and didn't mind staying on the air mattress 1 to 2 to 3 days due to what had seemed fair to us. Also, we're the second closest couple and just didn't get as much time off, which always made us last. Also, we didn't get a hotel this time after the incident due to saving up for a house/wedding. We didn't have spare cash floating around. Honestly, y'all know this economy and unexpected expenses. Millie and Luke. To live within the state, barely, is not feasible for them to stay home or stay with them. Also, staying with Millie's parents isn't an option. They don't get along and interact due to their child. Millie believes their child deserves a relationship with his grandma even if she doesn't have a great relationship with her mom. Also, there's no room. Mary. This was completely out of character for Mary. In fact, the only person anyone in the house has an issue with is John. Mary is the one who wants all of their sons home for the holidays and goes out of her way to make sure we'll all attend, usually. Luke does believe the change was due to his dad and their mom was made the messenger, because the mom is usually a big person on fairness and mostly had no issues other than the ones John pushed onto her. This was also backed up by John's reaction to hearing we stayed in the room for one night. Before this interaction, Mary is one of 4 people that I've stated I'll take a bullet for due to her normal kindness. Jack and Jill. Most in the house has an issue with them. Previous holidays, they have thrown a fit due to us voting on where to eat, and none of us wanted to go where they chose. They refused to eat with us. Jill is the main issue of this, and similar things have happened every time. This year, Millie asked if we could play the board game in their room one night as she was on the phone with her sister playing an online game, and we didn't have much room due to their mattress. Jill stated she wasn't willing to, and either it was in our room or they weren't playing. They were also the reason we have 2 board dogs. Their dog is aggressive, and with a small child, it's not safe. However, if they aren't attending, we are allowed to bring our dogs. And you are allowed to attend us every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. We can go live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and TikTok. Just tap our profile, and we're probably live right now. But these complicated relationships happening here. It just seems like,
I think it's getting very overcomplicated now.
yeah, I feel like we're just kind of going on a rant here. I'm just going to finish it up.
Okay. I was just say, like, it seems like they already have a plan. Like, if they really want to just not deal with it, it's like, all right, well, it's a crapshoot. Like, we lose that ability, so we can do this. Or living situation, or a better somewhere to stay situation, I guess you can say.
Exactly. Chronic illness / pregnancy. For all the comments about pregnancy, Jill is not pregnant. About health reasons, Millie has some chronic illnesses they are still trying to figure out. Jill is used to being overweight side, but has lost a significant amount of weight in the last 3 years. I have insomnia. Both Millie and I have bipolar disorder and endometriosis. I said it wrong. Tear me apart in the comments. This inconvenience due to my period usually hitting during the holidays. Wow. And that's the end of the story. Yeah, girl, figure it out. I know what it's like in this situation, being with complicated family members and trying to figure out where to stay and all that stuff.
You have to make some sacrifices. It's either the sacrifice is you stay on an air mattress, which sucks, or you lose some time and you got to go live at a hotel that's an hour away. You got to make sacrifices, and that's just the true belief here that with this big family.
But that's the end of that story.
My sister-in-law posted a picture of my father in the ICU, then got upset when I told her to delete it.
ICU's in the chat.
I've never made a post before, but this happened a while ago and has had long-term ramifications on my family, and I want to know if it's really me who is the a-hole in this situation. I, 40 female, and my brother, 32 male, have not spoken in almost a year because of the situation, and our relationship has been strained even longer, mostly because of sister-in-law. By the way, this comes from Seaside Escape 2 on the OK Storytime subreddit. So about 18 months ago, my dad had a medical procedure that didn't go well, and he ended up having a stroke and was in the ICU for a very long time. I was his guardian at the time, so I was in charge of making his medical and financial decisions. There were restrictions on how many people could be in the room at the same time, so I wasn't there when my bro and sister-in-law came to visit. They brought their daughter as well, and I found out the next morning when I checked Facebook that they had made a post asking for thoughts and prayers, which to me is cringe and not something I would ever do, nor would my dad. But what got me upset was when I looked at her pictures and video and saw my dad with tubes, etc. in his throat in the background. I was absolutely furious because I thought that was such a huge invasion of his privacy. My dad is not huge on social media, and he does not post pictures of himself or talk about his personal life online. Like both of my parents, they are lurkers and just like to look at the pics of family and friends and see what's happening in the community. Not only was it posted by sister-in-law and brother was tagged, but my sister-in-law's mom also shared it to her own profile for all her random friends to see. I immediately called my mom to see if I was justified in my feelings of absolute rage, and she would also know him the best since she is his ex and they also had similar online styles. She agreed and didn't think he would want that, and said she definitely wouldn't want a picture of her online like that, nor would she want everyone to know her business, and that she even needed a plea for prayers. So I texted my brother and told him that the post needed to come down, and that I didn't think it was appropriate, and that he would not like that. My brother said, "It's not like it's a big secret he had a stroke." What? The only people who know need to know. Your whole friend group on Facebook and sister-in-law's mom's friend group does not need to. Anyway, while he didn't apparently agree with me, he said he would have taken it down. This is where things got bad. While texting my brother, my sister-in-law sends the longest text to me to tell me why I'm wrong, basically. This is a common theme in our relationship dynamic. I text, call, and hang out with my brother, and sister-in-law makes sure to text or email me and tell me talking points to have with him. Why she can't let that man talk for himself is beyond me. Actually, I do know he apparently can't handle his family, which is odd since we bend over backwards for them, since my mom and I are pushover people pleasers. Working on it, y'all. Well, I mean, it seems like you are taking the right steps. You're saying, hey, don't post that picture. Anyway, I'm apparently selfish and a bee for not letting them share a pic and video of their daughter singing to her papa. To me, this is just attention-seeking behavior. No one needs to know what is going on in his personal life. If you want to share, feel free to call the relevant people who need to know. Send the video and a text to your mom, etc. But to share a picture of someone in the ICU, incapacitated with tubes all over and unable to give consent, just seems like weird A behavior to me.
I think the behavior is that I want attention.
It's making it about that.
Look, this person is, somebody asked me if I'm okay about this.
Exactly.
Like,
it's like, oh, you're so sweet to like dance for your papa. I mean, what are we even talking about here? But this caused a huge fight, and my mom took my side in this, and ever since then, we haven't spoken. My sister-in-law blocked me from Facebook. I can't even search her name, which I didn't even know was possible. She also had her sister, mom, and others do the same. It's fine because if I wanted to see her page and catch up on my niece, I have many ways to do so, though I never do. It honestly just hurts too much. Since this happened last year, I missed my niece's birthday and all the holidays. My brother never even texted me for my birthday. When my dad passed, right before Christmas, he left us a little bit of money. There wasn't much left after in-home care costs and getting him set up with a skilled nursing facility, but we had to meet in person to get this taken care of. I brought my brother a gift since this meeting landed on his actual birthday. The whole thing was weird since I hadn't seen him in so long, and especially without sister-in-law. I really wanted to talk to him and got the guts as we were leaving. He seemed to be trying to dip the F out of there, but I caught up with him and gave him his gift and said I'd really love to talk sometime and that I miss him and my niece. He said that is really hard for him because he feels he has to choose between his wife and sister, and he has to choose his wife. I said I get it, but it just seems so silly to be fighting about this, and it's not what dad would want, and mom hates having to do two separate everythings. Holidays, Mother's Day, etc. And it's really hard on her. He didn't seem to argue and said mom was fine with it. She isn't, and tells me quite often how it makes her physically ill that this all has happened. I offered to sit down with him and her, or just her, or all of us, or whatever. I just wanted to talk and get this figured out. That was 11 months ago. 6 months ago, I texted and said I missed him and said maybe we should get a drink sometime. No answer. My guess is she won't let him reach out to me because she rules the roost in that house and always has. Him not even texting me seems pretty odd. I have a lot of theories about what's going on, but I don't know. So am I the a-hole for getting upset with my sister-in-law for posting a picture of my dad online after having a stroke and being incapacitated in the ICU, even though that decision apparently split the whole family up? By the way, we would never want to split you up from us, so just join us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitch. Just tap our profile.
It just takes one tap. We might even be live right now.
Just go check.
And you should go check. Who
but
knows?
There is a little bit left to the story, but before we get into it, any final thoughts about this terrible, terrible sister-in-law and her kind of cowed husband? It feels like he's a little bit whipped.
It's hard when you get told happy wife, happy life, and your wife behaves like this.
Yeah.
So...
And you gotta leave all of your family behind.
Don't be taking pictures of people in the ICU while they're incapacitated to get attention.
Yeah.
It's like such an unhuman thing to do.
Yeah.
It's like aesthetic empathy.
It is. It's like when, you have big creators who go and take videos of like unhoused people and they're like, look, I'm doing such a good job.
Yeah.
Don't you think so? And it's like, okay, well, we should maybe be a little bit more respectful.
Yeah, maybe just do that instead of like turning them into a prop.
Yeah. They're not no dancing monkey. And neither is this dad.
Well, they are for $100. No, that's not good. Don't do that. We can't be doing that.
But there is more to the story. Edit. This wasn't a full-on headshot of him or anything, but a pic/video as well as a reel of their daughters singing to him sitting on his hospital bed. There was a shot or two of him in the background since he was barely seen. They didn't think it was a big deal. And I definitely did. As I said in another comment, I was getting texts asking if he was passed away or dying after that post. And I thought I was just in very poor taste and not what he would have been okay with. Epiest42 says, what did OP say to sister-in-law in conversation that led to break and sister-in-law blocking OP and her brother not contacting her? Did OP call sister-in-law or her daughter, AG, an attention seeker or worse? Or is that just how OP refers to them here? What did OP say to lead to being blocked from one conversation? And OP responds, I mean, while I and people I know wouldn't want to be pictured ill like that in ICU, it sounds like it was a video of niece with the father in the background and her own brother before any interaction with his wife. The sister-in-law didn't see it as a big deal. Sister-in-law was wrong, but her husband, OP's brother, clearly had no problem with it. And if OP wants to say sister-in-law is a sociopath who blocked her for no reason, okay. But I have to ask, what exactly did OP say to sister-in-law? And did she insult the niece also? Or if OP can't remember, maybe it was really bad. OP says, no, I never called sister-in-law or anyone attention-seeking, and especially never said anything about my niece. When sister-in-law butted into my brother and I's conversation with a very lengthy text, I asked why she was speaking to me that way and why my brother could not talk to me himself. And I firmly said it's not what he would have wanted and thought it was disrespectful. I was getting texts from people asking if he had passed away or was passing away and just wanted his wishes respected. neglected. She said to not speak to her like a child, and she didn't see anything wrong with it, and hundreds of other people do it online.
Yeah, so that makes you a child.
Hundreds of other people do a lot of things every day, and some of those things are illegal.
But don't speak to me like that, because I don't like being told when my actions are unacceptable.
I said it wasn't about her, and it was about him and what he would want. I was called immature and childish, etc. I don't know, it was a bit of a crap show. I always just kept the peace and never had a backbone in any past family situation. This was the first time they probably heard me talk like this, but I was so angry for my dad and finally had enough.
Wow.
And that is the end of that story.
It is.
I'm proud of OP for standing up for herself and her dad.
Yeah. As am I, because
yeah.
I think that is the right move. Unless dad has like 100 videos of himself doing TikTok dances, like that's another
Like,
story.
oh, okay, maybe
but
he
like
wants that, but no.
it's crazy for them to be. First of all, that comment where it was like, "Did you call them attention seeking?" Newsflash, buddy, that's what that was.
They literally were.
Like,
they were being attention seeking.
Every single thing that is posted on social media is posted to get attention.
Yes.
Like, and that doesn't necessarily mean
It doesn't mean
everything
it's a
is
bad
bad.
thing, but it is
But it's
for
like,
attention.
no one posts something because they're like, I want no one to see this.
No,
Like,
look at this. Is it just for me?
Exactly. Like that's, I don't know. So it definitely feels like she turned her father-in-law's stay in the ICU into a commodity for
Yes.
her to gain social credit.
Exactly.
Currency.
Exactly.
So to speak.
Yes. But that is the end of that story.
My brother-in-law's sister is trying to sabotage his wedding, so I exposed her.
Get exposed, nerd.
It's sabotage! It was my cousin's sister's wedding, and we are Indian. So if you are Indian or know an Indian, or have a friend or been to a wedding, you know the drill. The days, long wedding events, the heavy dresses and jewelry, and also some serious family drama. By the way, this comes from user Klutzy2627, and by the way, you can submit your stories on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, my cousin and I are very close, even if there is a huge age gap between us. Naturally, when her wedding came around, I was very excited, and I helped a lot with the planning and decorations and with the food. Literally everything. It was exactly as we have imagined her wedding to be like. Just perfect in every way possible. But, again, it's a wedding. How is a wedding ever complete without drama? The man that my cousin was marrying, my current brother-in-law, is an amazing man who has been with my cousin since their college days. They were friends in their college days, and when they started working, they joined the same company, so they remained close to each other. The friendship turned into love, and they decided to date, and eventually, here we are, getting married. Both the families were informed, and everyone is very happy with their decisions, except one person. It was brother-in-law's sister. She didn't have any personal problems with my cousin. Her only issue was that her best friend liked my brother-in-law. Let's name this friend the idiot, because she truly is an idiot, and this is honestly the nicest word I can use for her. We're going to change the name idiot to Adina. All right. When idiot found out that brother-in-law loved someone else and was getting married, she went ballistic. She has been trying to get his attention for so many years, and he wasn't ever interested, as he's always been head over heels for my cousin. I understand that she was upset. I have been a girl in love and in heartbreak too, but I wouldn't try to break up someone else's marriage because of my heartbreak. Yes, she tried to stop their marriage via brother-in-law's sister. The two came up with all types of absurd accusations about my cousin and tried to anonymously sneak in the accusations by means of messages from unknown numbers to my cousin's then future father-in-law and mother-in-law. This included emails and even letters delivered to their doorstep. My cousin was really stressed because she thought that the father-in-law and mother-in-law would think the accusations were true and would stop the wedding. I told her, "Don't worry, sisso, I am here." Add dramatic music here and imagine a cape on my back. My cousin's father, my maternal uncle, me and my brother first went to the father-in-law and mother-in-law to let them know that all of this was false and that my cousin is innocent. We asked them for some time and that we will find proof of who has been sending these messages, and we'll let them know everything and that they are free to judge and make their own decisions. We got permission from them and decided to get to work immediately. They're like Scooby-Doo.
And we went to work.
One thing I forgot to mention was that brother-in-law used to live in his own house in a different state from where his parents lived after he got a job. Before this, my cousin and brother-in-law used to live in one town and went to college together. Once they got their jobs, they both came to my city, and then brother-in-law got his own house and my cousin came to live with me.
His family came to live with him when he told them that he wanted to marry to help with the wedding arrangements. What's unfortunate is that the sister also brought her best friend, Adina.
What did that mean? His family came to live with him when he told them that he wanted to marry to help with the wedding arrangements?
I guess.
He wanted to get married to help with the wedding arrangements? Or is that just a typo and that he just wanted to help with the wedding?
I think he wanted to help with the wedding. What's unfortunate is that the sister also brought her best friend, Adina, who was in love with my brother-in-law since she was 15 and my brother-in-law was 17. I mentioned brother-in-law having his own separate house in a new town because it was important to mention. Both his sister and Adina didn't know he installed security cameras in his house, and the camera was pretty well hidden, so they couldn't have noticed either. We asked brother-in-law if we could see the camera's recordings, and we saw someone early in the morning, around 4 a.m., dropping off the letter. Guess who it was? Dakota, you have a guess?
It was Adina.
Adina. We showed it to my cousin's father-in-law and mother-in-law, and they cross-questioned Adina about it, and she was in tears and admitted to everything.
I low-key wish we would have just called her the idiot this whole time.
I think that's a little too aggressive.
Is it because she is being an idiot? And you know what? And she was trying to break up this union. So I think she's very stinky.
She's very stinky. A stinky Adina. She and brother-in-law's sister apologized for everything. They were forgiven, and it was happily ever after. Or so you thought. Everything after that was pretty peaceful. All the arrangements were made, and we are now at the wedding day. My cousin was really jumpy and on her toes the whole time. She was panicking so much about everything. My brother and I had to sit her down and talk her out of her panic. She, however, mentioned that she was scared that Adina might try to pull some sick stunt to ruin her wedding day.
Well, she should be scared because you're talking about an idiot.
The wedding day is the perfect day to make things go away. I, however, told her to calm down because I wouldn't let my precious angel's wedding get ruined. OP's ready on standby. And I knew that you always need to have a backup plan prepared in advance in situations like this. And so I did. I collected a lot of information and evidence just in case. I had my suspicions that they would do something to mess up the wedding way before it even became a thought in my cousin's mind. So I did a little research about the two. Since we all come from the same hometown, I got in contact with my friends who still lived in the town that my cousin and brother-in-law used to live in. I asked around about these two baboons and found out that brother-in-law's sister had a boyfriend and had even slept with him.
Oh.
Premarital spicy time is a big no-no here. As for Adina, I found out that she was slowly getting brother-in-law's sister into illegal substances and into becoming a call girl. Whoa.
Whoa, Adina. You're such a bad influence.
Again, that's a big no-no. And I think no parent would want their child to do something that would cause trouble for them and the child as well. I knew my cousin's father-in-law and mother-in-law would be worried about their daughter and take action immediately if I let them know about this. I would have told them this after the wedding was over, and that would have been in private so no one else would know. But I guess the girls wanted something else.
Oh boy.
OP was ready. Like, she had the holster and she was like ready to go. Pew. Once the wedding ceremony started and the guests were all there, they were enjoying themselves. Everyone was having fun and giving their blessings to the new husband and wife to be. These two pain in the butts were going around and gossiping about my cousin to everyone. We noticed that, and we came up with a quick solution. I asked my two male friends who are very attractive to go and talk to the girls. However, I told them to switch on their recorder and be with them no matter what. Oh, some like secret agent stuff here.
Spy stuff.
God bless my two friends. They did exactly what I told them without question. They came to me after an hour or so and told me what was going on. The two girls were planning to ruin her wedding dress. When I tell you that crap was costly, it was costly. It was really heavy with all these heavy stonework that was done on the cream-colored lehenga.
Because this is like an Indian wedding dress.
And if it was stained, it would be ruined. We could not afford that in any cost. She was taking a glass of juice from the juice counters and tried sitting right behind the bride. But I stepped in and told her to go sit behind her brother and that I would sit behind my cousin. She was trying so hard, but my brother and I kept pushing her off and away from my cousin.
Dude, crazy. Just like sitting there with a glass of juice ready to throw that.
OP right now is Secret Service. She's keeping an eye on everything and she knows who prime target is. Eventually, she did manage to throw it, but it accidentally landed on someone from the groom's side and she got scolded by her. While her grumpy face was funny to see, I still had enough because if that auntie wasn't there, it would have been my cousin. After the wedding was over, people were going to start taking photos with the couple. I announced that my brother and I had some things to say. Initially, we talked about the bride and groom, but then we shifted the attention to the groom's sister and her friend. We played the audios of the calls I had with her friends in the hometown as a surprise to the groom's sister. I don't like that.
I don't like that either. Not a fan of that.
I wouldn't have done that because now you're putting the attention on them. Just a little bit. I know maybe in the hindsight, it's like, oh, that's funny. And maybe your cousin wanted it, but that's taking attention away from the wedding. I would have just confronted them personally. Just like, I have this evidence. If you keep going, I'm going to do this.
Exactly.
There were a lot of angry faces, some on the sister and some on my brother and I. I tried to explain that had she and her friend tried to ruin my cousin's sister's wedding dress, this would have been broadcasted to the entire wedding venue. I then called my 2 male friends and both of their faces were in gasps. Both of them pulled out their phones and I played the recordings on one of the phones. One of the phones which explained how they were still spreading fake news about my cousin and also them planning to ruin my cousin's dress. We also got the video recording of them actively trying to throw the red colored drink on my cousin's dress as well. Both of them got kicked out from there and weren't allowed to enter until the rest of the ceremony was over.
Good.
Both of them stood outside making attempts to convince anyone who would listen to them and let them in. But no one paid heed to any of them. Once everyone got home, they were scolded badly, and my brother-in-law's sister kept screaming at me that I was so mean and rude to have their truths exposed to not just her family, but to every relative and friend who was there to witness the show.
Oh, sounds like the stinky lady doesn't like her stinky business being aired out in public. But that's just what happens when you make a little plot at someone's wedding.
Well, I want you to witness our shows with your ears and sometimes your eyes, because we have full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any other platform that you listen to your podcast on and search OK Storytime, because we have a plethora of stories just like this one.
Exactly. And you should listen to all of them.
Yes. There's another relevant update, but where are we at?
Yeah, honestly, these people should count themselves lucky that they were even let back into the wedding at all, or that anyone still wants to talk to them. Like, if I find out you're the kind of person who plots against the wife on their wedding day to ruin their wedding dress.
Again, I'm not a big fan of how you did it in front of everyone. This should have been I have this in my pocket, ready to be let known that you will be exposed, rather than just expose them. I would have said, stop your crap before I, reveal the truth. Back to the story. While my cousin was glad that I had her back and my brother is standing in support of me, my parents and some of our relatives think that it should have dealt within the family and shouldn't have been exposed to anyone outside of the immediate family members. Am I the a-hole? Note, I am sorry if the post ended up being too long, but I just wanted to give all the context that would be required to judge the entire situation and my actions as well. Also, if something doesn't make sense, just blame it on my sleepy head because I wrote it in half sleep mode.
Half sleep mode.
Okay. So, are you the a-hole? No, but I think I would have done it in a better way. But in the broader spectrum of things, you are not the a-hole.
Yeah, no, I agree.
That's the end of that story.
My sister-in-law wants to have a joint wedding reception. I stood firm and said no.
Just say no to
There you have it, kids. A year ago, my brother, 25 male, got married in secret. My boyfriend and I were the only one of our friends and family who knew about it.
secret wedding. Secret wedding.
He was only a few months out of a divorce, and I think he was desperately lonely. By the way, this comes from Deleted, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, I was actually living with him because he had begged me to come live with him after the divorce, and my profession makes it relatively easy for me to relocate. The sister-in-law, 27 female, Candice, was an au pair from China looking to marry for citizenship. They got married after knowing each other for 2 weeks. Whee!
Eee.
My boyfriend and I convinced my brother a few days after they had married to tell my parents. My mom was upset at being kept out of the loop, but I took Candace out for manicures and coffee to celebrate and welcome her in the family. It was weird for all of us, though, because of the secrecy and it coming so soon after my brother's first marriage. My mom asked me to ask her if she wanted a bigger wedding sometime in the future, if they should start saving and help contribute. Candace said then that she had never wanted a big wedding and that she was fine with the courthouse wedding. My sister-in-law and I are not close. I moved out right after they got married and found a job in a new city an hour away. And as I was packing up, she stole a bunch of items.
Oh.
For example, I packed up my kitchen supplies and I had a box of at least $100 worth of spices. My boyfriend was helping me move stuff into a van and we thought we'd lost the box. Then my boyfriend found it hidden under some stuff in the garage. She also grabbed some of my prettier candy dishes and glasses. I thought they had been lost in the move, but I've seen them on display when I visited my brother.
That's crazy.
Chosen to take that as a loss because it seemed kind of petty and could have been an honest mistake. But Paul and I have our suspicions. The issue. Fast forward to now. My boyfriend Paul, 33 male, and I got engaged. I told my mom and she flew out for a weekend of wedding stuff just for fun. We looked at dresses, tasted cakes at the cake shop, talked about venues and guest lists. We just generally had a blast. My brother and sister-in-law currently live an hour away, so they came up for dinner Sunday night. My mom was very excitedly talking about dresses, guests, and venues at dinner. Paul and I could feel jealousy just oozing off of Candace. She was shooting me glares whenever my mom wasn't looking. After they all left, I cried because I knew some kind of shoe was going to drop from her. Paul and I discussed it and decided to have the wedding at his family home back east to try to protect us from whatever Candace was going to do. I told my parents and they requested to throw a West Coast reception at their house the week after our wedding ceremony for friends and family who can't make it out to the East Coast but still want to come to celebrate. I was actually looking forward to it and thinking it would be sweet and low pressure to have some lifelong friends and family at some kind of picnic lunch, maybe with games and music and stuff. So now the shoe has dropped. My parents, my brother, and sister-in-law are having Thanksgiving together, and my mom texted me last night. She said that Candace is planning a wedding in China 2 months before mine, where she will also at the time formally announce her marriage with my brother to all our extended family and friends, who still don't know they're married. My brother introduces her as his girlfriend at family gatherings. Candace wants a joint West Coast reception with me.
That's not happening.
No, I'd just be like,
This is so weird.
no,
Yeah. First and foremost, no.
no,
Second,
no.
why has nobody been told that they've been married? Like,
Yeah, no one's aware about this marriage. Yikes.
I have so many questions on your brother's end that just
Your
I'm
brother is
pretty sure-
going through something.
I'm pretty sure everyone has questions here.
I
on,
think
like,
your brother is being scammed. Or actually, I guess, has been scammed.
I just want to know what's going through his mind of like, yeah, let's get married 2 weeks in and let's not tell anyone about it. And then let's have a celebration where, you know, maybe 3 months in, we have a marriage. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I'm livid and a bawling mess. Our ceremony on the East Coast is at least untouchable by her, but I don't want my first and only marriage to be in any way linked with my brother's second marriage. I can barely stand my sister-in-law, and our relationship is more one of forced politeness and tolerance than any kind of friendship. I absolutely do not want to share a reception with her. I just kind of need an outside perspective. Is this petty on my part?
No.
I don't want to be a bridezilla, and I would like for friends and relatives who can't make it to the East Coast to have something to come to if they want, but I don't want to share a reception with that woman. Is there any way I can get out of it but still do something for friends and family who can't make it to the East Coast? And there is an update. Literally, the way that you get out of it is by saying, no, sorry, that's not going to work. I talked to my mom and found out more information. Family and friends who can't make it to the East Coast have been reaching out to my mom and were planning to give gifts of their time and expertise for the West Coast reception, such as performing music. A friend has offered to provide catering at cost with food she knows I like. Another friend whose photography I've admired for years will be taking pictures.
Oh, nice.
A lot of that was supposed to have been a surprise for me. My mom just explained it to me so I would know why she had said no to Candace. After my mom said no to Candace about the joint receptions, good on your mom for setting up the boundaries.
Yeah, this is one of the W moms in the wedding.
Yeah.
Usually we get the opposite.
Candace changed her mind and said she and my brother will not be attending the West Coast reception, and has been calling it a fake wedding and charity. She's also decided that she wants to attend our East Coast wedding, and she's asking either my parents or my fiance and me to pay for their plane tickets out there. She's saying that 2 weddings is excessive, and if I can have 2, I can afford to fly her out to one. Just say no. Like, just keep saying no.
No.
Just say, yeah, no, sorry. If you can't make it, we'll miss you.
And guess what? If it gets to that point, just say,
Yeah. My fiance does not want her there and is considering a list of ground rules for behavior, all based on her past actions at weddings
good
and
on the
holidays.
fiance too.
Yeah.
Good on everyone in your family other than your brother and your sister-in-law.
If it falls on us to pay for their ticket out. Number 1, no insults or backhanded compliments said to or about any of his family or me. Number 2, cell phone off during the ceremony. Number 3, no unnecessary hospitalizations or life-altering announcements for 3 days before or after the event. I want to just say nothing to her about the tickets, as she has not directly asked me. Then if my parents want to fly them out, fine. My best friend has offered to keep an eye on her, and I have seen her handle similar people very well.
This is crazy. Everyone's playing the part that they need to play.
I know.
Why?
Except for
I'm genuinely shocked.
Literally just the sister-in-law.
Even the brother-in-law, seems like the brother hasn't done anything, said anything. It's just
better.
sister-in-law.
Yeah, I'll take that. My other thought was to maybe try to do something nice for her, since she kind of got a raw deal for her wedding, and I think that's what this is about. That maybe kindness from me would eliminate the drama to some extent. I doubt it. I asked my brother about it, and he said no showers or parties because he's embarrassed about remarrying so quickly after his divorce and doesn't want the spotlight on him at all.
So why do any
Why
of it?
did you get married then?
Hold up.
He's like, yeah, I don't want to celebrate my new wife at all because I'm embarrassed about marrying her.
I would be like, did you hear what you just said? Make it make sense.
He also knew nothing about the request for joint receptions and says he has refused to do a Chinese wedding. So I'm not sure what's going on anymore. It's not really a fancy wedding. I'm buying my dress secondhand. And my friends and I are making the decorations, and the venue is my fiance's grandmother's home. But it seems very excessive compared to what she got. She has been saying as much to my mom. It's just feeling like too much hassle. Should we just elope? But there is a second update.
All right.
So let's get into it. Thank you all so much. Paul and I have been reading all of the responses. We took many people's advice and are scrapping the rules. They were funny and interesting to come up with in regards to past behavior, but there would be no way to enforce them, and it would just give her more information about what petty things she does that most bother us.
That's fair.
True. I also talked to my mom and asked her to stop updating Candace with plans about the wedding and to stop talking to me about what Candace says. I told her it's been stressing me out, so she agreed to stop.
Nice.
And that has been truly a wonderful gift. It's like this heavy cloud has been lifted from the whole thing. Thank you to everyone who advised that. Paul and I decided our ceremony and the small reception after is what's most important to us. So we are putting our energy into planning that to be special and specific and meaningful to us. Our paper invitations are only going to invite people to that one. Brother and sister-in-law will get a paper invitation without strings attached. We're not paying their way though. If she acts up at the ceremony, then she acts up. Thanks for the stories and perspectives there from people. And we want to thank you for listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search about Storytime. But there is a little bit left to the story. Any final thoughts?
Everyone sounds pretty healthy other than brother and sister-in-law.
Yeah.
Like I said, I feel like after the wedding, you really got to talk to your brother and be like, hey, what's really going on here? Because this seems all irrational and not you. That's the only thing. I'd pay no attention, give her no energy, the time of day. She doesn't
Ignore
need it.
her.
Yeah, ignore her. Get your things back, by the way.
Steal your glassware back.
Get your things back.
Your
Those are
candy
yours.
dishes. Those
Don't-
are yours, man.
Yeah, don't let that slide. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. If those are your things.
And then take pictures, have a little photo shoot with them.
Yes.
But there is a little bit left. I talked it over with my mom. She and her friends will plan and put on the second reception so they can be in charge of who to invite. I told her I'm not sticking my neck out either way in terms of how much of a spotlight Candace and brother's relationship is for that one. I told her Paul and I decided any extra attention or music or poems we get beyond our own wedding day is just extra, and we will appreciate it, but we're not going to be directive at all about that one. I was most stressed about sharing it because of the power plays, spiteful comments, and compromises I was going to have to deal with during the planning process. But now that I'm not part of planning, I really don't care about sharing the focus with anyone else. As is your right.
Yeah.
The day is about you and your partner.
Exactly. Do what you guys want to do. That it seems like you guys have communicated that to a T, and everyone's respecting that, other than just one person in the story. Even your brother is like kind of complying in a way. So just do your thing. Don't worry about her. I say don't even invite her. Doesn't need to be there.
I agree. But that's the end of that story.
I told my sister-in-law that I'd sew her wedding dress, but I just went back on my word.
Dude, as someone who sews, I get it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
You heard it here first, folks. My brother and future sister-in-law had planned on getting married by the end of June, but the vid happened. Long before that, he had requested from me as a wedding gift to sew the wedding dress of my sister-in-law. By the way, this comes from her is son Berserk. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, I am by no means a professional, unlike this individual to my left.
What can I say?
But I can do simple stuff rather nicely. I already sew stuff for my family and friends as gifts regularly, little outfits for the kids or cosplays, just easy stuff that can be worn even if there are a few defects on it. They had planned on a no-frill wedding with close family and friends only, and my sister-in-law had her eyes on a flowing, layered Grecian tunic style dress. Rather easy to do and not too expensive as far as materials needed, so I agreed. But with the lockdown, well, things got complicated. Lockdown started in March, we were unable to get the fittings, etc., and pretty soon they realized the wedding would have to be postponed. My sister-in-law lost it, crying, screaming, the whole shebang. Nothing we could do or say could calm her down until my brother asked her what she wanted to do instead. And she said she wanted now a big wedding as compensation. I don't know about that, Chief. I mean, well, okay, I get her frustration, I really do, but the main reason they were having a small wedding was to save money to renovate the house. And so on and so forth. But that's none of my business. I know. My brother relented, and now they are planning a big ol' wedding for 2021. Sister-in-law sent me her new requirements, and she wants a full skirt with silk, bodiced, lined, embroidered, trained, the whole princess gig.
I will say that that word is bodiced.
Bodiced? Oh, I thought it was bodiced.
No, it's okay.
Bodiced. Bodiced, modest. Mouse. That, of course, I will still pay for in full for the materials. I told her I didn't feel like I could do it, that it was too complicated for my skills, and she went ballistic. She said I was lying, that I had done complicated things before, and that it was just nothing more than a couple more stitches.
Dude.
Triggered over here for sure.
Triggered. There are so many situations when like someone who doesn't sew is like, it's not that hard. And it's like, girl, you have not sewn
Yeah,
before.
it's like
everything is so much more complicated than it seems.
Go do it then.
Go
If it's,
do it.
Oh, it's just a couple more stitches?
Yeah.
That's great. Go ahead and do it then.
No, it's a completely different system if you want all
Yeah.
that. Completely different.
I have been trying to explain to my brother, because she doesn't want to speak to me anymore, as I am conspiring to ruin her wedding, that I do not feel able to do it. His solution is that I buy the wedding dress that she wants, or I wouldn't be invited to the wedding. So I said, okay. I said I wouldn't go because I couldn't do what they asked me. Boom. Yes. Okay. Thank God. You had me in the first half. I was like, no, don't buy her wedding dress for her.
Yeah.
I said I wouldn't go because I couldn't do what they asked me. I can't sew that dress, and I certainly can't pay for what she wants. I'm now a heartless big sister who doesn't approve of her little bro's wedding or wife. And honestly, I just want to tell them all to go stitch their big mouths closed. And there is an update, which is what is this? This is wedding fever. Like,
This is just, dude, I'm like, triggered is absolutely the right word. There is just literally so many situations. I've ranted so many times with my other job is involving sewing, and I've ranted to the boss so many times, like back and forth with her, just about people not understanding what goes into sewing, and like people asking us to like do certain things, and it's like, no, you don't get it. Like it's like asking to build a house. It's like, oh, like, can you just like make this little hut for me or put up a tent?
Right.
And then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, actually I want a full house with soundproof walls and everything.
right.
It's like,
And it's like, well, it's just a couple more screws
Yeah.
and some more wood. What's the difference?
No, sir. No, sir. It is not.
Well, we do have an update here.
Let's see it.
Hopefully there's some reconciliation. I am really touched by the support and the many great advices I receive. Many of you here or in private messages gave me ideas and leads on how to deal with this the best way possible, as well as pointing out things I hadn't even considered. On Saturday, I'll see my parents, and I will explain to them that as much as I appreciate their faith in my capacities, I am not up to the task, and while their support is amazing, at this moment and on that subject, it's misguided. I will do an itemized list of the costs of the first dress, the one I agreed to make, a quote from a professional seamstress of my town for the new dress my sister-in-law wants, and a few picked up examples of the prices of off-the-rack dresses and show it to them to demonstrate my point.
There you go.
Point being that would be a lot to do.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Many of you also pointed out that while my sister-in-law is planning on splurging, the question of who's going to shoulder the extra cost hasn't been raised. I want to touch on that point with them as well. Also raise the point that it's all nice and well to faire des plans sous les comètes. I hope that was close. I think in English that translates to wishing upon the moon for a 2021 wedding. It's not even guaranteed, which is, now that we're living in the future, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yes, having her wedding ruined is hard and crappy and effed up. And to all of you here going through this, I really hope the postponement will only bring you even better things. But it doesn't allow her to act like this, and I will not go to that wedding unless big apologies are made. Last but not least, I had no idea there were that many fabric artists, sewists, embroideresses, stylists, and such. And I had no idea this community would be so supportive. And I also learned a lot. So thanks to all of you again. I will update next week when I've seen my parents, and we have an update.
Wow.
Do we think it's good or bad?
I'm scared.
I'm saying bad.
I'm saying bad.
All right.
Most of our stories statistically prove that this will be bad.
Just say that this is like this person being like, you're sabotaging my wedding because now you won't give me the dress you can't make.
It was already a big ask for someone to make your wedding dress.
Yeah.
If this is someone that does not do this, like if someone, I don't know what kind of stuff she makes, but if she usually makes like tote bags or something, and or like little clothes, I guess she did mention she'll make little clothes that are wearable. A wedding dress is a big jump.
That's a big jump.
Big jump.
So, a lot of things happened. After a few requests, this is the kind of things I had promised, like one of you so nicely said. Mostly my sewing style is full-on Monet. Father, you are the best, it looks, but for the love of everything that is nice in the world, don't look too closely at it. Okay, so we have the picture here.
I see.
Throw the picture upon the screen. I went to my parents on Sunday. They understood very quickly the huge difference in skill set required to fulfill the new request. They also discovered the wondrous world of AliExpress and Wish counterfeit designer wedding dresses, because that's where they had gotten their price range ideas from.
From Wish? They said, okay, this can be a $1 wedding dress. Dude.
It's just made out of toilet paper.
Yeah, exactly. And dreams.
Quite a few laughs were had over the expectation versus reality pictures I had found. We also went over the extra costs of the new wedding, and I just advised to be careful as we didn't even know yet what would be possible with the pandemic threat still lurking around. 2 days later, my brother stopped by, and before I could see him in real life, accompanied by future sister-in-law. Keep in mind that this is a recap of what I have been told by my parents. I was not here for this. Our parents did take my side on the dress story, and at first it seemed that my future sister-in-law heard them out, until they said they weren't sure they could chip in for the extra costs of a store-bought princess dress. Then, again, I wasn't here. This is what they told me happened. My sister-in-law silently mouthed out a very foul word towards my mother, and my dad saw her do this. All heck broke loose.
Oh boy.
For a couple weeks, everyone was screaming at everyone else. My bro not really siding with his wife-to-be or our parents. Our dad doesn't want anything to do with future sister-in-law at all, ever. What did she say?
I really want to know.
So dad wants nothing to do with her, but mom is more hopeful that a nice apology and some explanations could mend the fences. I still haven't been able to catch my brother face to face. He called, and it ended up rather sour since he threw my celibate status at my face as a symbol of failure. But he did later send me an apology text saying he loved me, he wanted me at the wedding no matter what, and he would understand should I not want to sew the original dress anyway. And there was some sweet revenge here. My dad was so incensed at what had happened that he took me to the fabric shop the very next day and told me to go wild and get yourself enough fabric for a princess dress. So 1 pattern and 3 weeks of intense self-challenging later, it's full of mistakes and crooked sewing, but it was made with the ardent fervor of self-righteousness. And there's a link for the dress here. And I swear to the heavens that if she doesn't apologize to my parents, I will wear this at her wedding. Ooh, so she
That's
probably made
fun.
like a crazy, awesome princess dress for herself.
Yeah.
We have another edit here. Thank you, everyone, for the kind words towards my family here and in private messages. The sewing pattern for the yellow dress is the McCall 2041. I'm sorry, I could have sworn it was a Simplicity. My bad.
How dare you, OP?
Yes.
How dare you?
How dare you? My inspiration wasn't the Belle dress, sorry, nor was it the Hamilton musical, which I admit I haven't seen yet. It was a book I had read recently and loved, an old horror novel called The King in Yellow. And I wanted to be a queen in yellow, ominous and angry and powerful when I picked the fabric, because I was pissed and angry and hurt at what had happened. And I was indeed feeling spiteful. And by the way, I'll never feel spiteful if you go listen to full episodes of stories like this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcasts. Just search OK Storytime and you will have a basically unlimited amount of stories to choose from. So there is a little bit of story left. Let me see if I can pull up the dresses really quick. But it looks like that's not like really a wedding dress.
Yeah.
It's like just
If
a
that's the
really
right one.
beautiful dress that she made.
Yeah,
So
I mean-
she would kind of upstage, but she's not wearing white,
Not
which
wearing
is
white.
good.
Yeah, she mentioned it was yellow.
That would be too far.
Yeah. Dang.
Let's finish it off. So, okay. Here we go.
We know.
Here's what the sister-in-law mouthed.
I'm so excited.
Well, here's a quick French lesson. You can worsen a lot of slurs by adding, I think it's but-e, but it's assez probably at the end. Like, yeah, exactly. For example, une con is a stupid woman. Une connasse is a stupid, despicable, mean woman.
I see.
The slur she used was that of that category, hence my usually mellow dad flying off his handle.
Wow.
P.S. I have decided to name that dress, and yes, thanks to you all, she will now and forever be known as Spite Dress. And that is the end of that story.
My egotistic sister-in-law invited my husband's ex to her wedding. We didn't even know that they were friends. Whoa.
How you gonna invite the ex to the wedding?
Warning, long and ranting. Throwaway because this is easily identifiable and I don't want it linked back to my main account. TLDR at the end. Background, dear husband and I have been married for 7 years. His only request for our wedding was to include the sister-in-law, mother-in-law, and father-in-law in some way. By the way, this comes from Nightmare Wedding 034, and if you want to submit your own stories, just go to r/OKStorytime subreddit.
Do it.
We'll read them for you. Sister-in-law and my brother ended up being our witnesses, as we had no bridesmaids or groomsmen. I used to organize large and small scale events professionally and can work with pretty much any budget or interests. I offered to help free of charge and was ignored. Dear husband is sister-in-law's only sibling. He was not invited to participate or help in any way. Sister-in-law is in her late 40s. She has no children and is a self-absorbed hipster. Her future husband is in his late 50s with 4 grown children from a previous marriage. He is a tragic hipster, tight jeans, suede Chelsea boots, non-ironic plaid, and a man bun.
Hey. There's nothing wrong with plaid.
Oh, yeah?
As a Midwesterner, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of plaid.
And pretentious. Not my favorite person, but I'm not the one who must spend any time with him. Even my ever-polite mother-in-law finds him boring, and she could probably find something nice to say about Idi Amin. My sister-in-law is getting married this weekend. She has been planning her wedding for over a year and is getting married in the middle of nowhere in a national park. It is a half-hour drive from the closest place for a family to stay along winding tracks. It is over a 6-hour drive from our home. She does not live in this area or live close, come from this area, or have a particular need to have the event at such a remote corner of this area. It is a busy summer weekend and the area is a massive draw for tourists, so everywhere to stay has a 2-night minimum. We had accommodation sorted through my mother-in-law who wanted us to stay until mid next week and do the 6-hour drive home on my birthday. My dear husband and I have small daughters who were asked to be flower girls despite sister-in-law meeting them 4 times during their entire lives. The dresses are frankly hideous. Navy blue polyester satin with an ugly bow in chartreuse. And sister-in-law requested that we buy them shoes and a floral headpiece that would cost $130 per child. Her maid of honor suggested putting it on a credit card. We can afford this kind of crap, but for shoes with laces, they are too young to be able to do them up themselves, and getting them on would be like trying to put ice skates on an octopus that they will grow out of in 3 months. Yeah, no.
Just complete waste of money.
Absolutely.
Entirely.
I found an alternative that is suitable in the right color, and she eventually tolerated. She wants her bridal party and flower girls to go down the aisle after her. Weird, but fine. Her bridal party is 5 bridesmaids, including the mother-in-law, and 4 flower girls. Future husband has 4 groomsmen. This is for a wedding with 60 guests, so 25% of the total attendees would be standing at the altar. That's really funny. That's a lot.
Funny.
Yet somehow, dear husband doesn't get a role of any time. Not an usher, not a witness, nothing. When I heard about this, I started thinking that maybe sister-in-law was becoming something of a bridezilla. You think? You were starting to think? I know.
My brain just turned on and I realized.
I'm slightly suspicious of this situation. Oh, Opie, so naive. Her location is a farm. Her dress code is cocktail attire. Her ceremony seating is hay bales. I love it. At this point, it's camp, and I'm now in love with the bridezilla. It's enough stupid decisions to be endearing, you know?
Yeah, I kind of feel that a little bit.
As someone with fairly severe hay allergies and a need to be able to drive, more on that later, this was going to be painful, and it would have been torturous for an 83-year-old family member or family friend who recently had a double hip replacement. When asked to provide a chair for him, that response was, it would ruin the photo. When asked if our daughters, who she demanded be at the location 2 hours earlier than anyone else, could get changed upon arrival, we were told that there wouldn't be a room available. The ceremony is mid-afternoon with drinks and nibbles served before dinner at 6:30 p.m. My children go to bed half an hour drive away at 6:45 p.m. Sister-in-law suggested that I ask them to wake up later in the morning so that they could stay for the meal. Sister-in-law has never interacted much with small children, and it shows.
It does show, doesn't it?
If these are children that are too small to lace up their own shoes,
Yeah.
they have there's no negotiating what time they wake up.
They have a set schedule.
Yes, whether you like it or not. When this was rejected as an option, she suggested that my parents drive 6 hours to collect the children in the evening and take them back to our accommodation where there was not a room for them. They would not be invited to the wedding, nor would they want to come, to be honest, and everything in the area is booked out. Perhaps they could rent a camper van, the bridezilla asks. No. They were to cat sit for us at our home and celebrate a birthday with friends. The location has 6 bedrooms on site, as well as camping plots for double tents. Sister-in-law and future husband are in 1 room. His 2 older children and partners are in 2 rooms. His other 2 children are sharing the 4th. His mother, heavy drinker in her late 80s, and his best man, heavy drinker in his late 50s, have the 5th and 6th. It was suggested that we camp shared toilet block 100 yards away, but that the children would need to be wary of the partially concealed stream in the camping field, and that the 2 tents would not necessarily be near each other.
This is
What?
all the worst thing you could ever hear as a parent or an elderly person.
So they expect these, I'm assuming like 2 or 3-year-olds to like be in tents that are not near each other.
Yeah, this is absurd.
Oh, this is crazy. This is crazy. So far, so entitled. Fine. We made our peace with showing up, having a terrible time, smiling for the mandatory photos, and never thinking about it again. Then last Friday, my sister-in-law dropped a fun bombshell in a perfunctory text. Hi there. Wanted to let you know so you weren't surprised that I invited your ex to the wedding. I forgot about the title. Oh boy. She is an important friend to me, and I hope that we all can have a good time at my wedding with fun and peace. Neither he nor I knew that his ex was a friend of the sister-in-law. She has never mentioned this person in the decade that I've known her. The ex lives a long haul flight away. This is not a last-minute thing. Dear husband has spent over 12 years trying to get past the trauma of the relationship and the damage it did to him. Oh, wow. So it's more than just an ex. This is what I'm assuming is probably like an abusive partner.
It's like
that.
the ex.
The ex. He is finally in a mentally really healthy space, and yet sister-in-law thinks that dropping this on him a week before is okay.
not okay. I went into full mama bear mode and pulled my children and myself out. My dear husband was crying, trying to figure out what was actually going on. I wrote to mother-in-law telling her that dear husband was willing to go and that we would all go to butt F nowhere as accommodation is booked, but that 3 of us would stay home and enjoy a day of exploring the area. Mother-in-law wrote back uninviting us on the entire trip. Dear husband shut down completely.
Dude, why is
Yikes.
this family suck so bad?
There's no thinking or consideration at all. I called mother-in-law and she finally admitted that she had known the ex was coming for 6 months, but that sister-in-law had asked her not to tell us so that she could tell us in her own time. I want to throw up at that. That makes me want to throw up angrily.
In her own time.
In her own
you mean
time.
at the worst possible time to cause
Yeah.
the most amount of distress?
Right. But
You
also,
little monster.
it's not like this is like a partner that cheated in their relationship. Like, that's something where it's like, okay, whatever, tell you in your own time. You're the one that has to do it. This is different. Your mom can definitely tell you that their terrible ex is gonna show up at a wedding.
Yeah, deserve
Absolutely.
the heads up. 6 months heads up,
Yes.
probably a different situation than 1 week.
Mother-in-law didn't want to do anything to distract or ruin sister-in-law's happy day. The outcome of this nightmare is that we aren't going to the middle of nowhere, saving us 12 hours driving. We have gone completely no contact with sister-in-law and never liked future brother-in-law anyway, so definitely no loss there. And have decided not to see or communicate with mother-in-law or father-in-law for this foreseeable future. They have no other grandchildren, and I know I am being punitive by keeping them apart, but I am furious beyond words. Dear husband is distraught, and I am so angry on his behalf that I hope I never see his family again, lest I say something unpleasant. And there is an update, but what are we thinking?
Yeah, I support no contact here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
At the very least, with like the sister-in-law and the brother-in-law.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
and then the
It's such a nightmare. And for my own clarification, the sister-in-law is like OP's sister-in-law. So it's
it's her husband's actual
sister.
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. If there's an ex that has that much like mental distraught and like trauma on your brother,
Yeah, your own sibling.
why would you even want to be friends with them?
Don't invite her to the freaking wedding.
Yeah, not at all. Or just don't even talk to her ever. That's crazy. But there is an update. So, it has been so interesting to read the comments coming through. Just as a quick update to the comments. My husband's ex stole a huge amount of money from him and was physically... Oh my gosh. Yeah. He ended up in the hospital multiple times, only to be told that as a larger man, she wasn't culpable. Like, as
Well, because
can't be the
he was a
culprit.
big man and
Oh
she
my
was a small
gosh.
woman. She can't be held liable for her beatings.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Absolutely no contact with the sister. That is unacceptable. Not even to just invite her to the wedding at this point. It's like to be in contact with her at all. The
to
sister,
say you're best friends with this person too.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. He had PTSD for years on top of anxiety, always had it, and has made amazing progress. Thought of having to see her again pulled him back to a very dark spot in his history that he had worked really hard to get past. The children are also 4-year-old twins. Yeah, very, very little children. I am a judgmental witch. I never claimed to not be. My future brother-in-law is a clown who has no money, no prospect of ever having any money, is ugly, not my opinion only,
Damn.
and has an unpleasant demeanor. So not only is he broke as heck, he's also freaking ugly as
now
heck.
he's a broke, ugly bridge troll.
Get him,
Dang,
OP.
OP.
Get him.
Get him.
Get him. I can only imagine that my sister-in-law thinks he is good in bed, as no one I know who has met him can find any redeeming features, including mother-in-law and father-in-law.
Well, a sister-in-law
That's
sounds like
so
she
funny.
sucks, so it makes sense
Absolutely.
she'd find a partner with someone else who sucks as well.
Yeah, maybe this is just the partner that she deserves. Another answer to a commenter, alcohol is not relevant, but it is something that I find utterly distasteful when no attempt is made to curb it. I'm aware that it is an addiction etc., etc. But there are so many ways that it can be managed without negative impact on others. Future brother-in-law's mom starts drinking at about 9 a.m. and becomes rude and aggressive by 2 p.m., so will probably be completely sloshed by 3 p.m. when the ceremony starts. We haven't heard anything from any of the family at all, and I don't give an F about it. XO. And there is a second update.
Let's go.
Let's go. The wedding happened last Saturday, and we weren't there.
Yes.
My children were a little sad, but I convinced them to dress up for a family birthday in their special shoes, nicest dresses, not the hideous bridesmaids ones, were thankfully never posted to us, and pretty headbands. They seemed happy enough. My dear husband was a bit stressed until after the time in the morning when he couldn't have made it to the venue even if he had wanted to. He ended up taking a nap at the time of the ceremony and commented afterwards that he slept through my sister's first wedding. First wedding. That's like calling World War I at the time.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there's gonna be another. I just know it.
Nobody wants to hear that.
That's so funny. I received a birthday card from mother-in-law postmarked from the area of the wedding venue. I returned it to sender. I am not interested in whatever BS she may have written, but knowing her, she will have avoided anything of note. I wish I had something more interesting to report, that they had been washed away in a flood or all been poisoned by the canapes, but I haven't heard or seen anything about the event at all. But we do have another update, so maybe that has changed.
Let's hear about it.
Let's see. So we haven't heard anything from mother-in-law, father-in-law, sister-in-law, or new brother-in-law. I'm a little surprised that mother and father-in-law haven't tried to contact dear husband, as our children are their only grandchildren. Does anyone have any hypotheses as to what might happen with them? Dear husband has gone into denial or not dealing with it mode. We have busy lives anyway and are going away this weekend without the children. Thanks, mom and dad. So have plenty to keep us busy. By the way, we have plenty of episodes with stories just like this to keep you busy with entertainment. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is, and search OK Storytime. We got you.
We've got you.
But there's a little bit more. We have removed sister-in-law from our wills, as she was originally a trustee for our children and an executor, as well as a beneficiary should all four of us pass away. Now she gets butt kiss. Not particularly vindictive, as it was unlikely that she would inherit, although as a trustee, she would have been paid decently well and would have been able to embezzle a lot more should the urge have arisen. Any and all ideas for how we should proceed would be of interest. So go wild. What would your wild ideas be on how she can deal with this?
See, now this is, I was getting this sense towards the end of the story. It's like OP, like already won, has gone no contact with all these people, but now OP is like, I want more drama.
One more.
It's like, no, you already
not
won.
enough.
It's over now.
It's over.
Let it be just over. Move on
Yeah.
with your life. Move
Yeah.
forward.
My sister-in-law expects to be my maid of honor after ignoring me from the start.
Don't you have to like have low expectations to have any sort of happiness in life? That's how that phrase goes, right?
Yeah, exactly. I should be the worst possible maid of honor, and then on the day of, I really step up.
Exactly.
For context, my husband and I started dating in our senior year of high school. His sister, we'll call her Hannah, was 5 years older than us and was never more than cool and polite with me whenever I was around. She was never around very much anyways because she was super busy with work and going to a local college. By the way, this comes from DeepCry6530 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. And if you want to submit your own stories, go there.
Wow, this is one of our own.
One of our own.
Our children?
Not children, my subjects. Hannah's dynamic with my husband has always been competitive. Hannah is the oldest and only girl with 3 brothers. My husband told me that growing up, none of the boys were ever allowed to be interested in / have the same hobbies as Hannah. Because Hannah says they can't? Or like your parents were like, no, only Hannah can do this. Anything that Hannah did was her thing. And her mom always made sure my husband never got to explore any of the things his sister already claimed. This spiked a very competitive nature in my husband as a young boy because he didn't understand why he was never allowed to go horse riding or do any of the other rather gender-neutral hobbies his sister did. He would try and do those things on his own anyways and would try to be better than his sister so he could prove to his mom he was worthy and talented enough to have the same hobby. He would always be reprimanded and scolded and made to stop doing it though because he was being selfish and stealing the spotlight from Hannah. Sorry if this detail is unnecessary, but fast forward to my husband and I's first year of dating. Hannah got engaged to a guy that everyone kept warning her was no good. She stubbornly stayed with this guy against advice, though. I got invited to the bridal shower, but the means in which I got invited was a little awkward. I had asked my husband, boyfriend at the time, if I could drop off a gift for his sister. He immediately texts his sister and asks if I can come to her bridal shower. I was mortified because now it seemed like I had invited myself, and I was very new to the family still. My boyfriend assured me it was fine, but I'm not sure if this is where the attitude towards me started or if it was always there to begin with. I went to her bridal shower, though, and brought her a small gift and congratulations. She seemed happy and greeted me nicely at the shower. It was a little awkward, though, because I was meeting a lot of my boyfriend's family for the first time at the shower. I did not stay long, though, under the excuse that I had homework and only stayed 30 minutes. I was also my husband's wedding date at her wedding, and his mom insisted I come back into the bridal suite for the buttoning of the dress and all the pre-wedding preparations. I tried to be supportive and stay out of the way at the time. Hannah mostly just ignored me anyways. It was my husband's mom that kept insisting I be included. The wedding was a small church wedding, but very sweet and intimate with close friends and family. I did tear up at the father-daughter dance, and I had to excuse myself to the bathroom so no one would see me cry. I cried because my father had left my family 2 years prior, and it hit me that I would never get a father-daughter dance at my future wedding. Oh, that's so sad. I only told my husband, boyfriend, why I was upset, and I pulled myself together. I don't think anyone else noticed, or if they did, they never asked. Later, for the family photos, my husband's mom insisted I get into some of the photos. Less than a year later, Hannah filed for divorce because the guy she married turned out to be the embodiment of and was a terrible, no-good person, just as her family and friends had tried to warn her all along. Well, it's hard to, sometimes people need to learn that lesson themselves.
Yeah, when you're in that situation, you have to learn the hard way, but that still sucks.
Yeah. My husband was incredibly supportive of her during this time, but she became reclusive and depressed. She buried herself in work, changed her major in college, and rarely came to any family function. When she did, I barely got an acknowledgement of existence. I would try to hug and greet her, start conversations, etc., but she remained very distant and cool. When my husband and I would snuggle on the couch, I would sometimes catch her staring at us, and then she would look away. I felt bad for her because I knew that seeing our relationship must hurt since hers ended so badly. My husband and I were together for 5 years, and never once did Hannah ever ask how I was doing, ask how college was, or try to be involved in my life or my husband's life. Yeah, so clearly there's no real relationship here. Yeah. It doesn't seem like there's any animosity, but just like nothing.
It's just non-existent.
Neutral. When we started planning our wedding, we told Hannah about the wedding date we had chosen a year beforehand. The date was special to us, and the date would fall on our 6th year anniversary of being together. She hemmed about the date and said that with her work, she could never be sure about what days she would have to work on. She told us she would more than likely have to work. We didn't pressure her, we just said we understood if she had to work, but if she could be there, we would love to have her. My husband would be the first of her brothers to get married, and he still currently has the longest lasting relationship out of any of his siblings. It did strike me as odd that she didn't even consider taking a personal day or a day off, or even talking to her boss, seeing as we gave her a whole year's notice. Anyways, fast forward to a month before our big wedding, and my husband gets a text along the lines of, "Hey, Hannah's wondering if OP has made a group chat with the bridal party yet, and if maybe she forgot to include Hannah in the chat." Nope.
The group chat exists. You're not getting any of the texts.
You're not in it.
Because you're not in it.
You're not in it. Because we don't have a relationship. So you're not going to be in my bridal party.
Yeah, sorry.
Either way, OP is probably just busy with wedding planning and forgot to include her. Let me know what dress she needs to get as soon as possible, as we are on a time crunch now. To say my mouth hit the floor is an understatement. I was flabbergasted. A year ago, she told us she more than likely wouldn't be able to come because of work. Neither my husband nor I had spoken to her since then. Not out of spite or anything, we just never stayed in contact with her, period. We had sent her and her new current boyfriend an invite to the wedding. That was it. I had picked my bridal party, wedding colors, dresses, and everything over a year ago. I never even thought to include Hannah because she knew nothing about me or my friends. Because you guys are not friends.
Right.
I don't understand. She never stayed in touch with my husband, aka her brother, so as far as I knew, she could barely be bothered to take a day off to attend our wedding, let alone be a part of it. My husband immediately tried to do damage control and asked me if I could just make Hannah a bridesmaid to keep the peace. At first, I said absolutely not, because I was fuming that she would care so little about us as a couple and then a month before our wedding assumed she was a bridesmaid. I had never mentioned it or asked her. I never even had a conversation with her in which she could remotely accuse me of misleading her into thinking she was part of the bridal party. The only conversation we had was about the wedding date and that we would love to have her at our wedding if she didn't have to work. Not wanting to cause a rift in his family, though, since now his mom was involved, I finally calmed down and consented to make her a bridesmaid. And we planned who we would ask to be an extra groomsman to walk with her. For context, the other two brothers had been asked by my husband to be groomsmen, so in hindsight, maybe she just assumed that since all the brothers were a part of the wedding, then she must be too. We decided we would call Hannah ourselves and explain the situation, that we thought based on our last conversation, she wasn't going to be able to get off of work for a wedding, so we didn't want to include her in the bridal party if she wasn't sure she couldn't be there. However, if she was now able to come to our wedding, we would be more than happy to include her and make her a bridesmaid. I tried calling Hannah first. No answer. I sent her a text just in case she didn't have my number saved and then tried calling her a second time. It rang twice and then sent me to voicemail. I told my husband to try calling her since she might not answer a strange number. My husband tried calling her, no answer. We knew from his mom, Hannah had just been on the phone with his mom, so it wasn't like she was suddenly busy. He tried calling a second time and still no answer. My husband texted his mom that he was trying to call Hannah, and his mom responded with, well, Hannah's feeling a little hurt because she feels like y'all really don't want her at your wedding now. So she's just thinking about not coming at all now.
Girl, pick one. You can't be switching up like this.
Also, they said it in the nicest way possible. They were like, hey, didn't realize you were coming to the wedding. Sorry. Yeah, we'd love to have you as a bridesmaid.
Because you told me that you probably wouldn't be able to come to the wedding.
Told me that you weren't going to be there. What are you talking about?
For a stupid reason, too.
I'm sorry. You're making no sense.
Nothing. Not at all. Not one sense ever.
My husband told his mom we did want her to come and that we were trying to resolve things, but that she wasn't picking up the phone. My husband then tried calling Hannah a third time and it rang twice before sending him straight to voicemail. At this point, my husband's ticked off and says that he refuses to grovel and beg for her to be in the wedding when she never prioritized coming in the first place. We didn't keep calling and she never called back or responded to any of my texts. She didn't come to my bridal shower or our big wedding day. We never got a card, a congratulations, or a reason why she wasn't there. I was baffled that she would treat family this way, but my husband's mom was upset at us because traditionally the groom's sister is always a bridesmaid. What are you freaking talking about? No, it's traditionally the people that the bride is friends with, the people that the bride is close with.
Traditionally, the groom's sister will not say a year in advance, sorry, I have to work.
Yeah, I can't go.
Sorry. Like, traditionally, the sister's going to be there.
Yeah, traditionally when people say, oh, I can't go, you think that they can't go, so you get other people to fill in.
Traditions mean nothing anymore.
I am from the South, and I have never heard of this tradition, or even been to a wedding where this tradition is followed. I always thought that the bridesmaids were picked by the bride and were people that were close to the bride and groom and supportive of the bride and groom. Either way, we have seen his sister twice since our wedding, and the topic has never been brought up. She is especially cold and distant from us. We recently attended the wedding of one of the other brothers, and she was there as a bridesmaid. She has a wonderful relationship with the other brother's wife, talks and laughs with her, goes shopping with her, and now I'm the sister-in-law on the outside looking in. I feel left out and hurt. I tried to be friendly with her and to get to know her. She never let down her walls to let me pass the polite barrier. I did greet her at the wedding, and I hugged her. She seemed surprised at the warmness of my greeting and did not hug back. My husband also hugged her and sparked a small conversation with her. She seemed to warm up to my husband a bit more by the end of the evening, but she never talked to me the entire night, even when I was sitting right beside her and trying to start a conversation. By the way, you can listen to our conversations if you go to full episodes with stories just like this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. Do you have any final thoughts, though?
Yeah, it's just the same stuff. Like, that's just, I don't understand having all these expectations when you're not doing your part. It's like, you can't.
Yeah, and then getting mad about the switch up when there wasn't really a switch up. It was like you switching up.
Yeah, it's like, you're just like, oh, okay, so like, this is what's going to happen. I understand this. I'm not going to talk to her about what's going to happen to see where she's at. I'm just going to expect to be there. And then when I'm not, what? She can't read my mind? Huh?
And then when she says, oh, didn't realize you were coming, I'm going to be like, well, now I'm not coming for sure because you didn't know I was coming.
You're being so pouty.
So pouty. Yeah. Ridiculous.
But
there's a little bit left to the story.
Let's do it.
I guess I just don't know what to do now, and it hurts to be the disliked sister-in-law. I have never been close to her, and now I feel doomed to never be close with her or any of the other sisters-in-law. Because now that my husband and I live long distance, all the other girls have heard is whatever opinion of me Hannah has already told them. So when I get to meet them, I get the side eye and I'm left out of their sparkling laughing conversations. So am I the a-hole for not making her bridesmaid to begin with? Thank you for sticking around to the end. And there are some comments to finish the story off. Comment 1. Question, did you or your husband tell your mother-in-law that Hannah specifically stated that she was probably going to have to work on the day of your wedding? If not, please tell your mother-in-law what actually happened and how you feel that Hannah is bullying you. Tell the family that this situation needs to be resolved amicably or you will be going low contact because of Hannah's bullying. If you have told mother-in-law what actually happened, then I would tell the family. The whole family that you and hubby are going low contact because of the way Hannah is treating you, how it makes you feel bad, how you feel excluded, all the feels. If they don't do anything, then you know you made the right decision and followed through with low contact. If they do take actions to correct it, then you get resolution and hopefully happiness and reconciliation. Opie says, my mother-in-law knows what happened. We explained to her that Hannah told us she would probably be working during our wedding. I thought I mentioned this in the original post, but mother-in-law is the one who sent the first text letting us know Hannah expected to be a bridesmaid in the first place. But all mother-in-law told us afterward is that Hannah felt left out and pretty much just left us to try and fix things. And it again went back to the whole tradition thing. Mother-in-law has tried to force video calls between us, like at Christmas time last year, but it was very awkward and forced when Hannah does talk to us. When she talks, it's just for mother-in-law's sake. We are pretty much already low contact with Hannah anyways, as she never contacts us, and we don't reach out to her. We haven't said anything to anyone else in the family about it because mother-in-law would get upset if we said something against Hannah. Mother-in-law is very protective of Hannah, and it would cause a big uproar if we called her out. The whole family has tiptoed around Hannah since her divorce, understandably. Maybe they don't want to risk her cutting contact with the whole family. My husband is of the opinion that he just doesn't want to stir anything up if it's quiet right now. His mom can be a very hard person to deal with at times as well. I'm convinced she is a covert, self-absorbed person. So we have just slowly been going low contact with mother-in-law as well. There is another comment. Comment 2, maybe try to get the new sister-in-law alone and tell her how you feel. Let her know that you feel like she made an opinion about you without her ever meeting you, really. Let her know if that's really how she is, then that's fine and you'll leave her alone, but you feel like you deserve a chance to tell your side of things. I would also have my husband talk to his brother about it. You will need to try and work something out before you have children. My brother-in-law couldn't stand me, but I made the effort so that our children could grow up together as cousins. I think it's very important, and my children cherish those relationships. Opie says, I have not sat down with my new sister-in-law privately and talked to her about this, but my husband and I were sitting with his brother, his then fiance, and my husband casually brought up the conflict and asked if they had heard anything from Hannah. Sister-in-law got really quiet and pulled out her phone and started texting someone. I couldn't see who, but I almost wondered if it was Hannah. All the brother said was he knew Hannah was upset and that we should probably try to resolve that before our wedding. So sister-in-law got to hear our side, but said absolutely nothing. The conversation got kind of tense, so it felt like they knew more about the situation, but weren't telling us. They changed the subject and we let it drop and never brought it up again. That was before our wedding and their wedding. They both came to our wedding and had a good time. I tried to be super welcoming to her and include her on our wedding day. Then Hannah ends up being a bridesmaid at their wedding the next year. There's no bad blood between myself and new sister-in-law, but I know Hannah has gotten to her and I am still on the outside. My husband has a good enough relationship with his brother that I think they would allow our future kids to have relationships. I just feel like I will never be able to get close to his family because it feels like I messed up.
Oh boy.
Oh man, and that's the end of the story.
That's a lot.
But I think it's just like knowing that it seems like you really didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And sometimes, unfortunately, people just don't like you and there's really little that you can do about it.
Yeah.
You know, I think having a one-on-one conversation with the other sister-in-law, trying to talk to her, you don't necessarily have to explain everything that happened, but I think just saying like, hey, would love to hang out with you one-on-one. Let's go get coffee. Let's go shopping and stuff, and just make an effort to hang out with her one-on-one without all of the drama and stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I think you can put in that little effort. If she doesn't reciprocate, I don't think you need to continue doing it. You don't need to carry that at all. And it could just be the kind of thing where it's like, okay, you know what you did was fine. You know that you shouldn't feel guilty for it because it was justified and it was not a problem at all.
Exactly.
And if they don't agree, then they don't agree. Maybe eventually they'll come around, but you can't control it. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that is the end of that story.
My family gaslit me after hanging out with my toxic ex, so I decided to cut them off.
You should probably cut them all off.
Yeah, sometimes, hey, if you got an extra gas line, you got to cut that gas line off, dude.
And explode.
Some background. In January of this year, I, 31 female, broke off my 5-year relationship and we were engaged.
Ooh.
Without going into too much detail, there was a lot of emotional abuse, substance abuse, and neglect. It was an excruciating decision to make, but after 2 years of essentially living as roommates and continuously feeling beat down, I left. Good for you, OP.
Nice. Big.
I had to live with him, 34 male, for 3 more months after that until I could move into my duplex because we were evicting a tenant and it took way longer than expected.
Got it.
This, by the way, this comes from user Kayla the Gym Rat on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, I have always been close to my brother and they have a 2-year-old baby girl that I love with my whole heart.
Aw.
After I officially moved out, I really got to start the healing process. I met someone and it's been going amazing.
Let's go.
Let's go. My parents/friends love him and he's so consistent and sweet to me. Aww. After I got my security deposit back from my ex, I told him that I was seeing someone, and this is late August. There was an issue with the checks, so it took forever to get my deposit back. This conversation was fine. I told him I was going to block him for a clean cut and move on, and he agreed that that was the best. I texted my sister-in-law and told her that I finally blocked him and that it still stung really bad. I talked to this person every day for over 5 years, and it's a big step. Within 24 hours, I'm flipping through my Instagram stories and she posts a picture of a horse at a rodeo with him tagged. And the next picture is my niece with him in the background. So naturally, I was like, what is going on? Why are you with him? To be met with, you have someone to spend your Saturdays with, and he has no one up here. He's from a different state.
Okay.
So in one fell swoop, she diminished my new relationship and has sympathy for the person who I wanted to spend every Saturday with, but severely mistreated me. They couldn't possibly understand why I would be upset, and I mean, probably because they're brother and sister, and they're not dating. Fast forward 3 months, I distanced myself, spent a lot of time actually healing and enjoying my relationship and cultivating friendships. Work is thriving, and I'm back hitting my fitness goals. So it sounds like you're up, dude. Sounds like 3 months later, you're a new person.
You are winning.
Hadn't talked to them at all, and it was very peaceful. They didn't reach out once, and I was surprised, and that's whatever. I mean, you were going for the clean break.
Yeah.
I don't know why you're surprised, and you're thriving, so everything's cool. I extended an olive branch to say I'm still not okay with this, but I was going to stop dwelling because I miss my precious baby niece. Okay, so trying to be like, hey, I still am not really cool with you, but I'd love to see my niece.
Yeah, make peace.
My brother took over a week to respond and say, hey, I've been meaning to reply to your text to my wife. You're always welcome in our baby's life, and you always have been, but you were the one who chose to step away for as long as you did over a picture on Instagram. We will continue to have a relationship with your ex and understand you don't want to see or hear anything about it. But in the same turn, we don't want to hear about how you're doing with the breakup or anything related to your relationship with your ex either. Okay. I told them I acknowledged that they would probably keep in touch after knowing each other for 5 years, but for them to hang out and put it in my face felt very intentional, especially because she posted it within 24 hours of telling me, within 24 hours of me telling her he's blocked and I don't want to see what he has going on.
Weird. So it seems that the ex has manipulated a story, told the brother and sister-in-law, and they feel sorry for him, and that's why they're hanging out. I don't have anyone to hang out with. She broke up with me because of XYZ. Because whatever news you're told first is what you're going to believe.
Yeah. I think everyone kind of sucks so far.
Oh, yeah.
In this, where it's like, you can't really demand that people stop hanging out with someone else, that they have a completely interpersonal, like a relationship separate from your thing, just because of whatever you have going on with them.
Yeah.
And it also does suck for them to be like, by the way, we have more sympathy for him than you. But this is
Weird.
why relationships get messy.
Real messy.
They can get a little messy. I responded upset and I let them know I was hurt and was so confused why they couldn't try to see it from my perspective. Also, just how disappointed that I was with them. They responded with, Kayla, there's so much we'd like to say to you in response to your purposefully hurtful and malicious text. But at this point, we're becoming concerned about your mental health and question whether you are confusing reality with your own version of it that you've created within your mind. We hope you seek serious psychiatric help, as it's clear you are not well, as evidenced time and time again throughout the past year in your behavior, paranoia, and increasingly explosive and reactive responses.
Interesting.
Isn't this the same person who didn't respond for 3 months?
Yeah.
That doesn't line up, dude. Until you take the time and space to heal yourself and come back to reality, we wish you the best, but respectfully must take a step back from our relationship with you in hopes that one day we will be able to move forward.
The brother said this.
Yeah, this is all extremely extra.
The toxic ex has manipulated a story.
Yeah.
Or we have an unreliable narrator.
Could be both. Who knows? We only know what we're given.
Yeah.
But I think in that 3-month shutdown period, some stories were intricately woven.
Oh, yeah.
On the other side of the fence that you were not privy to.
Yeah.
Because it's so crazy to the flip-flop.
The flip-flop.
The flip-flop in that text message is nuts, being like,
it really is.
You are increasingly explosive. And it's like, they didn't speak for months and months. Yeah. The gaslighting and trying to convince me I'm crazy, even though I'm the one who hasn't talked to them for 3 months, is crazy.
Yeah.
I've always known my sister-in-law for having to be right and never being able to be empathetic in any way. Also, she would always try to get in my head about my ex and point things out throughout our relationship to upset me. But it's never going to upset us if you join us live on YouTube every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap on our profile.
Tap.
Yeah, there is a little bit more relevant information here, but let's talk.
I think you should take a step back from them. And I understand you're going to miss your niece. They're not seeing reality. And if they're around your toxic ex, I don't know.
Yeah,
bad influences.
It seems pretty cut and dry that they have been manipulated by the ex, because if you haven't spoken to them for 3 months, how would they know about what's real and what's not? So it sounds like they've just chosen a side and chose the ex's perspective on things. Because how would they even know yours? You haven't spoken for 3 months.
Yeah,
for them to be like, you need psychiatric help before we talk to you.
Yeah, they're just getting fed from the ex, dude.
Yeah. Well, hopefully everything is settled in this final.
We'll see,
bit
dude.
Here.
I doubt it.
Just you have every right to cut these people out. So her maid of honor stopped talking to her after she went through a painful breakup, and my sister-in-law basically said to get over it. So I said, I see why she walked out of your life after a painful breakup. The way they can't take accountability for their behavior and then go to my parents saying how concerned they are about me is insane. So I'm making the decision to not attend holidays. My best friend's family welcomed me with open arms like they have for the past 14 years.
Nice.
And have been better to me than my actual blood.
Wow.
Mom cried when I told her that I wouldn't be there. Christmas, I think my new man and I are going somewhere tropical and going to start our own traditions.
Nice.
I love my niece, but I can't take the gaslighting and manipulation for trying to explain why my feelings were hurt to have them continue to think how they act and what they said was okay.
Yeah.
Am I the a-hole for cutting them off and thinking she posted him on purpose for me to see? So
I don't know about the posting part, but you can definitely count yourself on the first one.
I will say that cutting off the two offenders, definitely not the a-hole. However, by letting this dynamic with your brother and his sister and your sister-in-law and his wife, by letting the dynamic between you two affect others in the family that have nothing to do with this, I think it does kind of become an a-hole move.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's
But
fine to
I
not.
thought the family sided with the brother.
I don't think that we've gotten confirmation on that. I think
Okay.
it's just been they've kind of approached the family and been like, we're concerned about OP's
Got it.
behavior because of X, Y, and Z. But a great way to get in front of that is to have a discussion with those people
Yeah,
in your family
yeah.
instead of just completely dropping out of family gatherings.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wouldn't go out of my way to interact with these two, but I think just because they're going to be like at Christmas, like that doesn't mean that you should cut yourself out of that.
Yeah, because of who you have issues with.
And you're letting them, in my perspective, like that's letting them win.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's maybe like toxic, but like maybe I'm just I put things in the context of like a competition, but it's like, I wouldn't let these people push me out of the family, like over some nonsense.
Yeah.
Like, that's like, they don't deserve to have the power in this situation.
Yeah. You're letting them win.
Yeah. Not to make it a win or lose thing, but that's just what it feels like.
Yeah.
So I would say, yeah, maybe don't cut off your whole family. Definitely go no contact with these folks.
Yeah.
And then think of how great it'll be. You get to see the niece at Christmas.
Yeah.
And you can interact with the niece and not her whack parents.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
So think about it.
Think about it.